Well, it's always a thing of gratitude to say good morning. Of course, God Almighty made it possible for us to say this day. My name is Philip Omol Gupon. Of course, I have my co-anchor with me, Anu Luakbo Stevens. Good morning, Anu.
Good morning, Philip Omoro Gupon. How are you?
You just said everything.
Right. That's like the first time in a long while I've actually pronounced that name.
Can you imagine that? I don't know if I should say, how do you do? Because sometimes when we say that, it sometimes sounds like hypocritical or just catchy.
Right, because it seems like everybody is going through a lot currently in the country. But then again, the usual response would be, I am fine. But are you really fine?
Okay, we'll come to that later. Good morning from Benin. And of course, let's launch to Abuja studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Emeka.
This morning. Yeah, good morning, Philip. Good morning, Anu. Great to have you guys on this morning. Thank you for joining in to the Abuja Network studio. It's been a whole flurry of events happening within these past few days in Nigeria. I think the issue of the probe of the fake agency is still ongoing, back and forth between the presidency and the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is on there, as well as the recent one that happened a few days ago when the Catholic bishops visited the presidency, and then interviews and things that came out of those, discussions, and then what Nigerians actually have debating here and there, on social media networks as well as in our conventional media space. A lot of issues have really cropped up these few days and weeks, and we don't even expect them to end. The issue of the death of one young nurse or so at the residence of the Minister of Works is another issue that is still there. We've not found, or we've not got to the end of it, and we're happy that even the High Court judge that was kidnapped a few days ago had been released, and then we realized that some kind of funds exchanged hands, as in there was ransom, paid to have the judge released. These are things that are just happening in Nigeria, and then the election, 2027 election is gearing up, and then it appears that in less than 2 weeks, the campaigns are going to actually start, and then we expect all the political parties to tell us what they have for Nigerians in 2027 and moving forward. The era of blaming this and blaming that, I think we should get past that, and then we hope that Nigerians will listen to them and know those who really have the interest of the nation at heart, and then go out there and cast our ballots and have the real leaders, come on board or still stay on board and get things done. A lot of things to talk about. We hope that we get it right this time around.
Thank you, Emeka. Well, that shows you have a lot to say, but we'll come to what you said earlier. And I think I was a bit taken aback when it wasn't, I was thinking he would pronounce my surname like you did.
Oh, yeah?
He did that, obvious. I know Luakbo, but he didn't put Stevens.
Oh, okay. Great.
I was expecting Omol Gupon from him. It's quite tongue-twisting for a lot of persons to do that. Well, let's quickly get you Patricia Gebers from Lagos studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Philip Omoegupo. Let me pronounce it fully. And then to Anu, good morning. And then Anmeka, good morning. From Lagos is a bright day this morning, and we are ready to kick off with TMI.
On the way you pronounce my surname, I'll give you a pass mark. I think we're going to be having a way of giving awards to those who can pronounce my surname fluently.
But I actually did well, though. But if I give Patricia a pass mark, I'd be like 5 over 10, perhaps.
Oh, well, you may say that. But like I said earlier, quite difficult sometimes to say how to respond to how do you do. Because we sometimes look at it as hypocritical to just say, I'm fine, when you know that things are not really auguring well, most especially in the economic realities that, like Emeka also spoke about, looking at the challenges we're faced with. And of course, some are asking big questions about come 2027 presidency, what's going to determine who's going to get the position of the president come 2027, most especially as regards the conversation going on between the president and, of course, the Catholic bishops recently. And again, does empathy count as a factor to determine who becomes the president? If that quality is a factor that should be put into consideration, or the crucible on who determines who's going to be the president of the country come 2027? Or is it just regional or party loyalty?
Empathy, regional or party loyalty?
Because some will say we've not suffered enough. Because if we're really considering economic hardship, then there's a reason for us to make a turnaround on who becomes the president come 2027.
Absolutely, but I don't think it's a case of we haven't suffered enough as Nigerians, or Nigerians haven't suffered enough. I think it's a case of Nigerians are not angry enough.
Oh.
Right, that's the case. Because if you truly are angry enough with what is going on currently in the country, what we are facing in terms of insecurity, in terms of electricity, in terms of good road network, I mean, the state of the road, the east-west road, the Warri-Benin road, it's a death trap. So if we truly are angry enough with some of these things, I think we'll do better. As to whether or not the 2027 election is going to be shaped with party politics or party loyalty or empathy, it's going to be left for us to see. But we'll love to link it up with what actually transpired on Thursday with this, at the State House in Abuja, where the president had a closed-door meeting with the Catholic, cardinals, and then Cardinal John, the day after, granted an interview with Arise TV, and we had the backlash from the presidency saying he had no right to do that, considering the fact that it was a closed-door meeting between the president and these bishops. So likes of Daniel Bwala, likes of Temitope Ajayi has said all of the things that he mentioned are gibberish, they are nonsense, and that is not the reality on ground. But then again, Nigerians can see truly what is going on. But what were some of those concerns actually raised? Two major concerns. The issue regarding the one-party system, we talked about over time, the state of opposition parties in Nigeria, and the fact that the economic realities on ground is biting hand on an average Nigerian. It's so hard, it's so difficult. It says that Nigerians are trying or struggling to just, earn a living, to eat, to do the basic amenities that you ought to do. And it seems the president, in his own usual style, did say that there's nothing going on. His economic reforms are beautiful. And I've heard him say that over and over and over again. But then again, does it correlate to what an average man on the streets is experiencing? It's a different conversation. How easy it is to afford a basket of tomatoes, a basket of pepper, a crate of egg, I hear it's now 6,000 naira. It's really a lot. So at the end of the day, it's left for Nigerians to answer these basic questions, and it's left for us to see whether or not what the presidency is saying is true, different from what we're currently experiencing on ground. Well, just to respond to your answer, party loyalty or empathy, the Osun gubernatorial election that will be coming in the next 12 days is going to give us that right answer. Right now, we're seeing it being shaped with electoral violence, or violence as the case may be. We've seen them sign peace accord acts that really might not be peace according at this point. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to Nigerians.
Well, let's see how it goes, because inflation is really biting hard on every Nigerian. Well, we don't know about the political class anyways, but even we can't tell if there's even a middle class, because the middle class seems to have been classed out.
So right now we have like the upper class,
yes,
and the lower class.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Oh
so we see how that's going to pan out, because the last time I checked, I don't know, the so-called decadent administration of late President Muhammadu Buhari also brings to my mind some realities that I'm trying to find a way to really measure up with, because as at the time I checked, at the time of late President Muhammadu Buhari, I think fueling a Toyota Corolla car was just 9,500 naira, as compared to now, where you have to breathe deeply and fuel with over 105,000 naira. So how do we measure this? And of course, looking at the indices in the present administration of the President Bola Tinubu, some are saying, well, he's got his thinking cap on, and has got what he's doing to make sure that the policies are able to impact positively on the people. But again, policy outcomes could determine how the people view a particular leader. I don't know what your thoughts are like, Emeka. You were ventilating not quite long before we started this conversation, but can we hear it from your end, Emeka?
Well, interestingly, the presidency will always come up with those claims that what they are actually on the right path to economic recovery, but it is left to Nigerians to actually, decipher from what we have seen so far. There are a lot of criticisms, and then from the presidency also, they are telling us that what they are doing is the right thing, and it appears that Nigerians will have to really exercise a little more patience for them to, get to that path that they actually want Nigerians to be in terms of getting our economy working effectively once again. But I think economists are there, and then those who really know how these things work are there, who are seeing what is happening. The opposition parties will talk, and then it will be termed as political statements. They want to discredit one political party in order to, extol the other. But at the same time, we are all seeing what is happening, and we only urge those in governance, because the buck still comes back to them. They should do the right thing, take away any form of, selfishness in their governance, and ensure that Nigerians truly get the dividends of democracy, which we always yearn for. Ensure that Nigerians are protected, because security is one major issue that has, or this security has been one major issue that has been driving the nation backwards. Nothing actually works where there is insecurity. People's lives are at stake. Just as people are struggling to, have their daily bread, get what to eat daily, they're also struggling to stay alive and stay safe. It is very, very unfortunate, and then that is an area I think Nigerian government should look critically into and ensure that Nigerians are, first of all, protected, and then whatever they are doing with whatever the government is doing with the economy, they have to really work so hard, because if you take a look at our debt profile at the moment, it is really mind-boggling and then a little frightening. But we expect the economists and other persons who are deeply into the field to be able to give us complete and wonderful, good analysis of what is really happening, if we are on the right path. What Nigerians want at the moment is food on their tables, and then if they say they want to go from point A to point B, to be easy for them to have access to such place. These are just basic things that we expect government to do, and then if they do that, I think we may just be on that path that they claimed we are, and then things will work out effectively.
Thank you, Emeka. My stomach was grumbling when you spoke about patience, because I don't know how that virtue, though they say patience is a virtue, but I don't know if that virtue will work come 2027. Like Oluwapo Stevens earlier said, well, it's not about if Nigerians are really happy about it, but that they are how angry are they in terms of tackling the issues headlong. Again, sometimes you ask the big question, what did you take as a meal before you slept last night? A lot of persons are saying, do we even have the ideal meal? No talk of even having the ideal bed. Well, let's get your thoughts on this, Patricia.
Thank you, Philip. Like everybody has spoken, Nigeria is actually economically bleeding. Insecurity is eating up everything, and then elections are coming up. Campaigns are starting in a few days' time, in 2 weeks precisely. We've seen the Osun State governor coming out publicly to tell President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that there will be no rigging in Osun State, because it seems to be that the ruling party wants to remain the only party in Nigeria, and they are just bent on winning elections. They are not bothered with any other thing, which is what all Nigerians, or most Nigerians, are crying about. And the presidency is not saying it like that. It keeps saying the economy is working, insecurity is being fought. We saw that very recently. A lieutenant colonel was killed in Abuja, a serving lieutenant colonel, not even a retired one. So it's alarming. Like Nemeka said, Nigerians just want to see that they can move from one point to another. You also asked, what meal did you go to bed with? Philip, I can also tell you that I ate what I didn't feel like eating yesterday night before going to bed, because that's all I could afford. So if I could say that, what about the other Nigerians that probably work through the day to feed for the day. Some Nigerians, if they don't work in a day, they can't feed in a day. So it has gotten to the point that Nigerians just eat to fill their stomach, not what they feel like eating or what they would have loved to eat. So a lot is going on in Nigeria. There's a lot to talk about right now. And I don't know, the present government, their body language is not aligning with Nigerians. They just keep saying things are working out, things are working out. But you can't keep saying things are working out and the people you're ruling are saying things are not working out. Your body language is actually showing you do not care about the people, the Nigerian citizens, and that's not too good for us as a country. So we hope this election comes free and fair, no rigging. Nigerians go to vote who they want to rule them come 2027. A lot to talk about, Philip.
To talk about, Patricia, big thanks for that. And if I want to think about what I took last night, I think I just took a glass cup of warm water. Could I even eat?
Are you watching your
Did I even eat? Did I even see anything to it?
Well, I feel it's kind of like hypocritical, me trying to add my own 2 cents, that Nigerians just want to eat and need a safe place to be. It's far from that, because an average Nigerian that I know, or the Gen Z, we love to explore, we love to enjoy ourselves, we love to try out new things and be able to afford, basic amenities. But right now, basic amenities is pretty much not basic amenities as it should be. Because before you even think of affording shawarma or just affording a pizza, you'd have to have like a second thought as regards whether or not it's a financial mistake you're about creating or not. And it shouldn't even be in the first place. But sadly, this is where we found ourselves, and we can only hope and pray that things eventually change in Nigeria.
Just as we also hope that the electorate will wake up and make sure that they own this 2027 election. It's a big one, and most especially if there is no loophole, the gaps created in previous elections by the electorate, then we will be seeing, positions being won legitimately, where the electorate's voice will basically determine who gets what, when, and how. Well, we'll take a short break, and then we look at the pages of the newspaper this day. Well, bon appetit. The meal is served already, so let's get what it tastes like. They say the taste of the pudding is in the eating, not just the appearance. Well, we're going to be starting with the Punch newspaper. And let's see the rocking headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning. And we've got a very big one begging for answers. On 2027, Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, weigh as governors from campaign DG roles. 2027 is just a few months, not just few months, few weeks. It's going to shock you. All right, this says Tinubu to review state police bill September 3rd. You find that on page 29. Labour gives federal government August 11 ultimatum over wage award. Well, so much noise going on about this. And of course, you get it on page 7. 30 years after Atlanta Gold have not been rewarded. And this is coming from Bonferry, and we get it on page 30. A lot here we talk about on the Punch newspaper. Let's get to the top of the cover page where we have this. It says, storm over fake agency probe as reps prepare final report. Let's see how the final report is going to be like. And that's it on the Punch newspaper.
Well, away from there, we now turn our attention over to the Vanguard newspaper, if we can. The Vanguard newspaper this morning is leading with the big major headline here that says Nigerians' quality of life took us to Tinubu. Okay, the Cardinal, John, he's still speaking there. He says Nigerians' quality of life took us to Tinubu, says we are done talking, tells president to govern better. That sounds more like it. On page 9 of the Vanguard this morning. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper still, we have a picture there of an event that actually took place yesterday in Asaba, Delta State, Nigeria, where we had notable personalities actually at that event. We had Okonjo-Iweala, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima was there, Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo was there at the Delta Economic Summit. Quite a beautiful experience. Away from that, PFIPC, allow me testify, I am being made scapegoat. Who was speaking? Adeyemi. When would this brouhaha and drama end, Philip? That's another question. It said it seeks administrative clearance to appear before representative panel on page 5. APC Adeleke clash over notorious criminals protection on page 25 says Oye Bamiji unveils 100-day agenda, targets workers' welfare. Well, still on that, what Tinubu told me after staff member died in my residence, Umahi speaking, the Minister of Works on page 45 says that he got the feelers that a lot of persons have been calling for his resignation after the death of the staff at his house. And I think that should actually, you know, pretty much be the case. You stay aside and let's do the right thing and get clarification as to what investigation, you know, we need regarding that story. Well, on page 4, it says NEC approves refinancing of $3.3 billion project Gazelle to optimize costs, unlock additional liquidity. Still on the front page of the Vanguard this morning, 2027, Nigerians, not Obasanjo, will decide election. Who was speaking? ADC has that to say. Economic Summit, Shettima, Okonjo-Iweala, Elumelu, others seek investment for Delta on page 10. I pity Tinubu, but more concerned for Nigeria. Who's speaking? Olawekmo Hashim on page 49. And finally, on the Vanguard today, FCCPC seeks uniform consumer protection, states open electricity markets. You get details of that on page 19. Philip.
Okay, well, let's get to say the Daily Trust. And again, the headline here is also pointing to the fact if the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is going to be a determinant, you know, in the 2027 election. Well, we have it here on 2027. Makinde, fire me, Oyinlola, meet Obasanjo. Wow. This is what the editor says, well, they're talking about that the former president is not a determinant factor in the 2027 election.
Right.
Okay, let's see how that goes.
But, you know, I feel like a more robust background story would be what transpired over the weekend, on Friday precisely, when the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, did call out Atiku and said that he was his biggest political mistake ever, picking Atiku as the vice president. So that actually spurred a lot of, you know, reaction. Atiku got offended and said it's because, oh, I didn't allow your third term bid. And perhaps ADC is also saying that you're not going to be the main factor as towards who wins the election come 2027 or not. But let's then again not forget that he's an elder statesman in the country and is so blessed to still be alive at 89, experiencing all of those things that we're currently seeing in the country.
And basically the electorate will have to decide, no matter what. We understand the fact that, you know, he is an influential political figure, but
absolutely,
the electorate basically will have to decide, because we feel the pinch, we'll feel what happens, you know. And again, the political class and those who were former president in the administrations were really fantastic, and so I think there's nothing much they can say in governance, because they couldn't also tackle the aspect of insecurity headlong, and of course the economy. Again, let's see what we have on the Daily Trust. Outside the 2027, we have this. It says, Osun Adeleke seeks president's intervention on killings. And that is an act of tackling insecurity, which is also a very big monster for the current administration. Phantom Council, ICPC concludes probe. We paid 50 million naira to secure Kirby George's release. And family has that to say. 50 whopping million naira
ransom
to do this.
That's a whole lot of money.
That's a whole lot.
And you know, the same government has been against paying of ransom, says do not pay ransom to kidnappers. I remember when a particular person, I'm trying to remember his name now, says do not pay ransom to kidnappers. But what do we get to see? In fact, even the president during the meeting with Oyo traditional rulers said there was no ransom being paid, because we had that question being asked several times. Did you pay ransom or not? But the president said no, we didn't pay ransom, and it's really quite, you know, shocking to see 50 million naira. That's a lot.
Again, we'll also get to see if that's a law or just a mere statement by the president, because we will be thinking for a judge to breach that constitutional provision, if there is, that again is another question.
What do you mean by breaching constitution? Would you allow him stay there?
Well, I think the best way to go is to be leaders by examples, and if it means, you know, losing your life in the process, just to stop a menace from growing into continuous monstrous outcomes, then let it be. Because we understand the fact that it's a very big challenge if we continue to feed the appetite of these kidnappers, you know, by giving ransom. And so if we continue to do that, then it means we don't want to stop the game, or we don't want to stop that, you know, appetite that they have. So how can we tackle it headlong?
How can we tackle it headlong? You know, speaking about appetite, there was actually a recent report that showed how the kidnapping industry, it's now an industry in Nigeria, it's booming, with a lot of money is being pumped into that industry.
You can say that again.
Right, and I think that's what spurs some of these persons to keep on doing what they do, because a situation of a George family paying 50 million naira for ransom, as to whether or not we don't even know what other, you know, cases that a lot of kidnappers, bandits, terrorists have actually gathered a humongous amount of money in the country. It's really alarming. It shouldn't even be, but we keep seeing this over time, and then now in Nigeria there's now a kidnapping industry. And
some will say, well, there should be a capital punishment in order to serve as deterrent to others. I remember vividly even the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo said it, and we're happy about it. But what we don't know if it's going to be possible is where he said that there will be a show of that at the King Square.
Oh, right, King Square, right.
Yeah, but I know, again, that could be a difficult task to do.
Of course.
All right, so, well, let's get back to the pages of the newspaper where we have this. It says, State Police Bill ready for Tinubu's review comes September 3. And September is just next month. But again, what the sub-national heads would do about this state policing is another challenge, because it's one thing to say that it's a welcome development. It's another to see how some governors are going to politicize this or use this as their personal tool to suppress opposition.
You think so?
Well, I know so.
I honestly want to believe we have a very smart president. You know, prior to this, we had a conversation, and a couple of days after, weeks after, President Tinubu brings up his own, you know, ideology of the state policing, and the Senate actually assents or passes that one. So right now, what Nigeria is currently going to use as a state police bill is the one from the president, where he has actually checkmated some of these things as to whether or not government or governors of the day will become guards in their own land. You know, the duty of the state police, the duty of the federal police, all of those things have actually been addressed, you know, with the Tinubu goes on state police.
Okay, let's hope so, but don't forget that politicians are like birds that will say if hunters will shoot without missing, they will fly without perching. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Absolutely. And again, that's the much you can take on the Daily Trust.
All right, away from the Daily Trust newspaper, we'll turn our attention now to the Daily Sun. Okay, so it's leading with presidency sets September 3rd for state police bill, begins consultation, invites Nigerians to shape policy, and also AGF assures safeguards will prevent political abuse. Okay, I think that's all the PD wants me to take on this newspaper.
All right, let's see how that goes. That's much you can take on the pages of the newspaper. Do way to internalize this by getting to the closest vendor and, of course, online. And then after this break, we will be starting off with a conversation. It's going to be on the 2027 presidency. And, of course, looking at empathy, and leadership in focus for today, this day.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet. Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people. This dance is a vibrant mix of traditions, arts and beliefs, deeply rooted in the country's diverse ethnic groups and their rich history. The dance has artistic expressions depicting the people's history. Benin people have been famous for bronze and brass work.
Good morning. Big thanks again for joining us on this one on ITV, and we're gonna be delving into the first discussion today, which is on 2027 presidency, and of course we have leadership and empathy in focus. And of course, joining us to discuss this from my immediate left, I have a leader of the Southern Group who has served in various capacity as Vice Chairman, Northern Leaders Forum, Gombe State Caucus, and also Vice Chairman, Northern Leaders Forum, Kano State Caucus, also Vice Chairman, Northern Leaders Forum, Taraba State Caucus, Vice Chairman, Northern Leaders Forum, Zamfara State Caucus. Dr. and Honorable Michael Obasu, big thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
And next to the Honorable, we have a senior pastor and of course a custodian of the law, and he is the senior pastor of Faith Pillars Gospel Center, Dr. Patrick Awo Osaige Esquire. That's quite long.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having me, and good morning, folks at home and everyone around the world.
And good to know you're back, because you had a tour recently, and how was the trip?
It was wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so quickly we delve into the discussion, because before us we have the 2027 election that is going to bring about probably the electorate's choice, and most especially as regards the challenges that we are facing recently, even where the meeting with the president and of course Catholic bishops, threw up a lot of concerns. And of course, what is the empathy status of the current administration of President Bola Tinubu? And going forward to 2027, should this be a determinant factor on who's going to get what, when, and how? Because Nigerians are really bleeding and suffering. And of course, a lot of persons are saying, if you have a long-term policy plan, to help Nigerians, become sufficient and ameliorate the plights of the citizenry. Again, how do we face the economic reality, the inflationary challenges Nigerians are going through? Things are no longer the same the way they used to be, even before the so-called government, of change came on board. So I think, starting with you, Dr. Patrick Awosaige, what do you see as the conversation surrounding this, and you say what will also determine the factor that will determine the presidency come 2027, looking at the aspect of the empathy as a virtue, or that of region or party loyalty?
Well, thank you very much. Looking at the whole situation in the country, it's quite appalling, challenging, and it calls for serious concern. But again, looking at that, just showing empathy and looking at the status of people and the way, you see, the challenge we have in this country, we have this mentality of somebody's coming to rescue you. You see, by God's grace, I've been to some countries, and if you see nationals and citizens, the way they comport themselves, and very, very extremely diligent with what they do, other than believing that the government will come to rescue you. I think it was John Kennedy that once said, and he made that brilliant statement, that ask not what America as a country will do for you, but rather think of what you as an individual will do for your country.
It's because America has been doing a lot for the citizens. What has Nigeria done for its citizens?
Hold on. Now, whether we like it or yes, it doesn't really add up to see that cap in hand crying back and forth. Grown adults are complaining, and another factor is that the statistics of those that are that are really deployed in that regard, that are in a critical condition, we don't know. You know, some of these things are turned up, and then you really don't get the statistics of what is going on. Of those that was hit in this kind of situation.
As you mean economic hardship?
Economic hardship.
Where was it?
You know what?
Where was it?
That's what I'm saying. We don't have the statistics. You get it? We're talking of how those that can't have accommodation, basic necessities for their life. You're talking about that. What is the statistics? I'm not talking of self-inflicted needs as adults that don't want to get themselves busy with so much they need to do. I will always subscribe to you trying to come up with this. I remember when I was much younger, there was this idea, was it not Babangida, if I'm not mistaken, when I came up with this SAP and all of those things, just structural adjustment program, that this idea of everybody should go into a sustained farming, have something you could do to help yourself. I think that was some kind of policy that people kicked against, and even our renowned Victor Waifo sang austerity measures and all of those things. But looking at it, I'm not justifying that. I'm looking at it, you learn from every policy that has come. As a Nigerian, I don't believe, in my opinion, that an adult should sit back and just keep crying when you are not a baby. You should think of what you would do for yourself.
Why is the government making an enabling environment for even businesses to thrive if you are going in that
I'm into business, a lot of them, series of them, and I've faced with the troubles of government coming back and forth, pulling down. I've suffered demolition.
You could be able to surmount it, but what about those who are down?
I'm not bringing myself in. I'm just talking of the basic. I'm talking of what is the basic necessity of your life. You know, a lot of Nigerians, we try, I want to be like Philip. I want to be like my sister. I want to be like you. I shouldn't think like that. Bukante Washington back in America during the antebellum slave era, he was talking to his black colleagues. Don't try to imitate the whites. Try to grow gradually. And I cannot dress like Philip. I cannot afford those clothes. I should try to, at least I'm not naked. I should wear something. I should live within my income. I shouldn't try to look up there. That is the problem. Great countries you are talking about, they saved so much. If you know what happened to the United States, when the 13 colonies came together and they fought for the world independence helped by France, and you saw how they even negotiated and eventually won. Okay, now after winning, what did they do? They started thinking. Okay, hold on. They started thinking of how to expand the territories. They started working.
I know you are taking us to.
Yes.
I know you are taking us to, but I don't want you to struggle to take us there. Because are you excusing by what you're saying? Are you excusing the current government from seemingly obnoxious policies facing Nigerians?
I'm not. I just said that before. I said it's unfortunate that we're in a situation like this. Now look at the leadership. Nobody is accountable to anybody. Someone once made a statement. They said, who is the presidency? That's Babachi Lawal, once Secretary of the Federation. When they said he has been, so I don't know what happened, and he said, who is the presidency? With effrontery, with audacity. You know, people don't, who are you accountable to? No, like the president said, this is what I want to do. You know, this is what we should do. Those that will drive the set policy, those are, they will report back. Those middlemen, so to speak, the cabal, those are that's the trouble we have in the country. The reality of the country, that's what we have.
Absolutely. You said quite a lot, and let me move over to our other guest there. Now, you know, highlighting some of the things that he has said so far. There's this usual saying that says that when life favors you, if life favors you, you would think other people are actually quite lazy, right? But then again, how would you characterize the leadership of President Bola Tinubu thus far in terms of his economic policies? Let's start with that, because a lot of persons have questioned some of the economic reforms that the president picked upon resuming office, the likes of removal of petrol subsidy and a host of others. But it seems to a lot of Nigerians that every single time the president reiterates that these policies, these reforms are working. Now, falling back to the meeting that he had with the Cardinal right there at the State House in Abuja, one of the major things Cardinal John said is the fact that the persons around him are not telling him the realities on ground. So it's a mix-up generally. Just your take on this.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, it is quite very difficult to be in Abuja and enjoy the amenities, social amenities in Abuja, like good roads, fresh air, you know, and then come back to places like Edo State or other states in the country and measure up with what they have there. You know, there's a very big disparity, let alone somebody living in the presidential villa and having to leave the presidential villa to 1 or 2 meetings within that vicinity. and then going to the National Assembly to present budget, and then coming back, and then from there flying to Europe or America. So how do you convince such a person that the citizenry is suffering? It is very difficult. Unless that person has a very special interest, you know, in coming down to really investigate to see if his policies are working and how they affect the common man. Because at the end of the day, it is the common man that we are talking about here. We are not talking about myself. Okay, I can say, okay, as a medical doctor, I'm in the upper class, but I'm no longer in the upper class. I'm in the lower class.
Oh yeah.
Because the doctors are no longer well paid.
Are you sure you are in the lower class?
If I say my salary here now, you will
You said
vomit.
you are in the lower class, not the lowest class.
No, well, there's a lower class.
The lower class is the middle class.
Oh, it's the middle class.
After the political class, we have the bourgeois.
So you can see we have 7
Very
classes now. I used to have 3 before. It's now 7.
Oh.
So you can see this stratification of classes was further created by poverty, by neglect, and then further worsened by the deeply seated corruption, which we've said we have been fighting since Nigeria gained independence till now. And we're still fighting corruption. Then we now ask ourselves, what is corruption? Who is corruption? Corruption is a person. Corruption is not a what? Corruption is a person. I see corruption every day. You see corruption every day. Well, let's leave that. We're not talking about corruption here. Now, talking about empathy. What is empathy? A leader must be able to show that empathy and bring his people together. The people must see that you are making frantic effort and not just mouth.
And you must feel their pain.
You must feel their pain. You must feel the pulse of the people. Now, there's a saying that if you are not a street person, you cannot really feel the pains of the street. It means that the president must come down from his house and then must review his policies.
But the president has been a street person.
These policies that he has been introducing, he must review these policies and then see that these policies are really affecting the masses positively or negatively. Now, the individuals of the streets, the people in the community, they are not interested in macroeconomics, which is the GDP. Our GDP has increased, Mr. President. Good morning. I have a news for you. Our GDP has increased by 0.6%. How does it translate to microeconomics, which is the food on the table of the common man, the fuel prices, Now, let's talk about the subsidy. You know, when they came, President Bola Tinubu is my leader, so I'm not here to, you know, castigate anybody, but I'm just here to say the truth.
The obvious truth.
The obvious truth, which is biting hard on everybody, including everybody seated here. Nobody's exempted. Now we'll talk about you're not, sir. You're not, sir, because you don't have good roads in your street.
No, we'll come back to you.
You still buy the fuel I buy. You still pay electricity tariffs I pay. So you're not exempted. Now you were talking about if we take a statistics, I can tell you, let's even be realistic. Let's take statistics here among the 4 of us here now. I can tell you that inside the 4 of us here, at least 3 of us is feeling the brunt of the economy. But then, we now ask ourselves, is President Bola Tinubu a magician? No, of course, he's not a magician. But the first thing we did was when we elected him as president, when he presented himself to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we asked him a question. The question was, can you take care of insecurity? He said yes. Can you revive the economy? He said yes. And now, if you are not able to do that, then that is to say that you have failed.
All right.
That is just the truth of the matter. And until he starts to think in the direction of the people and bringing himself to the level of the people, then he cannot really see the truth of the whole issue.
Okay, we'll come back to the conversation after this short break. Do stay.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
We're going to have you join us as this morning on ITV, and we still have our guests with us. Well, let's get to know what your thoughts are like concerning this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you see him as empathetic to the sufferings of the people?
It's a two-way thing. I could come to you and show, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, look at what you're going through, you know, and rub my hand around you, fry akara on the street with you, eat corn like what some governors do in time past. And the minute I get in, that's it. And we will know who we are. That I ate akara on the street and ate corn, roasted corn with you and sat with you and rub myself around and jump around doesn't mean I'm showing some empathy. The reality is this. That's not the show of it. We're too emotional.
So which means it's not empathetic to the sufferings of Nigerians?
I won't say so. I say it's a two-way thing. It all depends on how you say it. Now,
but I asked you a question. I needed a direct answer from you.
The direct answer is what I'm giving to you. I'm giving you the direct answer. I'm telling you that this lady is smiling. She may not be happy. You could just fake it. You could just do that. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't be looking at how someone comports himself or how he's going about it. I have no problem with Ahmed Tinubu, President Tinubu. I have no problem with him. What I'm trying to say is this. He has said this is what I want to do. Those policies that he has turned out, this is what we want to get on with. And if they are not working, what do you do? It's reviewable. And you should find out. Like my brother just said that, you know, they are not communicating to him rightly what he should know about the economy. He's a Nigerian. He has family, he has relations. He knows that things are tough in the country. He knows very well. But what do we do? This is a situation. And majority of it, I'm not saying people are not suffering. Don't get it wrong. I said we don't have statistics. Try to understand what I'm saying. How do we now know those that are faking it? Okay, government says, okay, I want to assist the very impoverished people, or the very, you know, those, you know what I'm talking about. I want to see how I can get to them. Mr. Philip will bring his family members and put 20 of them in that list. And being a big man, you are the people that they'll know. So these are the people, and they wear some, say, look at us.
I think what you're saying is a palliative-driven arrangement. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that the policies that have impoverished Nigerians.
Is it policy that impoverished?
Basically, yes.
How? What kind of policy
that have impoverished Nigerians? If we take our minds back to the start of the administration,
all right,
a lot of persons expected that yes, there's going to be a fair subsidy removal, like the conversation that has been on, where even presidential candidates of the 2023, they all also, you know, succumb to that there's going to be fair subsidy removal. But how do you approach this?
Is that the major problem
at
of
the
the country?
time when he started off, he started by saying fair subsidy gone. But
I heard him
how were the approaches? What was done in the petroleum sector? What was done to rejig the economy? What was done in the area of insecurity? What was done in the area of the subnational government, the increased money or allocations given to subnational government? What was done in that area? All of this went a long way to determine how Nigerians perceive the government, if it's empathetic or not.
Well, that's an opinion. Like I said, if he said the subsidy is gone, a lot of corruption that, in his opinion, was going on the way in the course of trying to remove subsidies, to take subsidy, a whole lot of money put. And again, I'm not supporting that absolutely. But what I'm saying, I'm trying not to make a statement that does not represent my intention or my position. That's what I'm trying not to do. Now, subsidy gone, subsidy not gone. What is that all there is? With or without the subsidy as it were, what are you doing as an individual to improve your life? You know, people just sit up and keep crying. That's the problem I'm having.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that I'm not faced with challenges. I've come through for a lot of people. You know, I've seen things like that. Oh, come on, this guy is trying. Yes, there are people I walk up to, just, you know, be magnanimous to them because I can see you putting in so much effort. What will a grown man, a mother, you see women struggling back and forth, you know, and you say these things are hard. They go to the market and really interview those women. All they want is that enabling environment so that they can trade. I'm talking about not those ones. There are people that sit back, that tell you the economy is bad, things are tough. Things will be tough for someone who is not doing anything. Even in America, there are beggars everywhere. There are still beggars in America. There are hungry people. There are thieves everywhere, all over the world. So it's not an issue of a Nigerian thing. That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
So for you to think that because a policy is the problem. No. What are you doing? Ask yourself as a human being, what are you doing? Like Abraham, we always go back to Kennedy. He said, ask not what's your country. Just say, what are you doing for your country? Yes, I know there are children that are out of school. Some children are hungry. At the time, Oshibanjo, the last administration, they said they would be feeding kids in school, and 5-point-something billion, and we didn't find the kids there. You see what I'm talking about? You want to assist. You said talk about palliative. Okay, you want to do anything you want to do. So we have not been able. That corruption is a major problem, and it's all over the world. There's no punishment. I'll tell you something. There's somebody I'm trying to prosecute now. He has defrauded his dear friend over 18 million naira for about 4 years, and I've tried all I could to talk to him, you know, and then, okay, now we have gotten him. We say, now you must go to prison if you can pay. And then, do you know what they're not saying? Hey, the mother wants to die of BP. The family, his children, what will happen to them? Didn't you think of that? People are not taking responsibility for their actions. I think that's the problem. Okay. We have this sentiment and emotions show here and there. I think that's just it.
Now let's move over to you. Speaking about taking responsibility, we'll fall back to what the president said during the meeting at the State House with Oyo traditional rulers, where he called out state governors, and he basically told them to stop building flyovers and, you know, do things that would better the lives of the residents in their state and make things better in terms of good road network to help facilitate security, you know, movement in different states in the country or in Nigeria. But now, then again, the question really is the role of the state government, and the president over time has mentioned the fact that a lot of state governors are now receiving 5 times, 10 times the usual allocation that they got a couple of years ago. Now, what are they doing with those monies? Because I've come to observe that here in Nigeria, we're fast to blame, we're quick to blame the president, we're quick to point fingers at the vice president. What are you not doing? But the role of the state governors in all of this, it's being pushed aside. Why?
All right. I think that is the double-edged approach. First of all, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the head of the economy generally in Nigeria. Governors have their role to play by, you know, administering their states as the chief executive officers of their states. Yes, they receive budgetary allocations for the maintenance of their states, smooth running of their states. And as much also, they also receive internally generated revenues, of which some states like Lagos State have internally generated revenues even more than 3 states, of course. But then beyond that, I can tell you that a state can be receiving 2 trillion naira as internally generated revenue or as whatever, and still be impoverished.
How come?
Yes, because it's like you are having a nanny and you have a baby, and you are giving the baby everything that you work for, only for the nanny to be eating the milk of the baby.
Diversion and misappropriation of funds.
That is diversion and misappropriation of funds. That is what we have been facing in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Under the glaring presence of the president.
Before your very eyes. And you see, the housekeeper or the parents cannot be exempted from blame or absolved from that blame, because the moment you bring that food, say take a nanny, go and feed this baby, you must also supervise that the nanny has fed the baby.
So that's where you are blaming the president.
That is where it comes from. So I just gave this analogy so that you all understand. You can see it is a triad. 1, bringing good governance entails the monitoring of the president or whoever is the CEO. 2, of course, effective working of the ministers or the commissioners who drive the policies of the governors or the president. And then 3, measurable index. How do you measure the index that this policy is working? It is not you that will say, I am working, I have been able to achieve this, I have been able to achieve that. You may be able to achieve those things you say you have achieved, but how are they better the life of people? Have they impoverished them more, or have they made them better? Now, I'll give you an example. Let's talk about insecurity. We are talking about poverty. Poverty is the least of our concern right now. Because you cannot be talking about wealth or poverty when you are not alive.
Security.
When you are not alive. Now, you talk about insecurity. We keep investing in insecurity every day, but we get insecurity as the result. It tells you one thing, that our methods are incompetent. And there's need for us to review these methods. But do we review them? We claim we review them, but we get worse results.
Now, speaking about reviewing, the president has actually, expanded the Army Division from 8 to 12. Don't you think that's the right step in the right
direction?
It
is not even the right step. Yes,
it's not the right step.
In a way it is, because it expands coverage. But then, I don't want to make certain statements here.
Please make it.
No, I don't want to make certain statements because it's like, when you want to, if I'm a house administrator, for example, I employ more nannies. And then the salaries for those nannies usually will be 30,000 naira, and then I will say it is 45,000 naira. Employing more nannies means that I'll get more kickback, is it not?
Yes.
Now, the monies that have been allocated for security votes, we're not getting anything from there, and you are creating more divisions.
And it's not even.
And you are creating more divisions. And when you are creating more divisions, that means more money will be allocated to those divisions, is it not? Okay. Now, I tell you one thing. Edo here. If we mean it, we can stop insecurity in Edo.
Absolutely.
Yes. Mondobelo, to be truthful, he is not my friend. He is not my friend. But I will tell you one thing. That the moment he pronounced that he will be burning houses or demolishing houses that are hideouts of kidnappers, and that he will do this and do this and do this,
there was a reduction.
There was a reduction in crime.
Absolutely.
So
that's
what does that tell you? It tells you that Nigeria is not a country you handle with kids groups. Nigeria is not a country you just say things and then you go and sleep expecting them to be implemented. You must be at the forefront. You must be at the forefront to make sure that those policies you are enacting are being implemented. And let me come back. You see, empathy is not merely sympathizing. Empathy is far from pity. The people are now wiser. They have seen through the armored thick lies that many politicians will just say, sorry, I'm so sorry for this attack. We assure you, that's the word they usually use. We want to assure you that my administration is doing everything we can.
We feel your pains.
To look into it. We feel your pain.
Well, the president
we are there with you. Then they will not be doing money prayers and all those. Those things are hypocritical. I say it. I dare say that they are hypocritical. Because until it hits you, you will not really know how painful it is. And then it is far more than coming to TV and to be defending a government that you yourself know you are a victim of, either by one way or the other. It is. See, this rhetoric of empathy must go beyond just sorry, but actionable governance. Actionable governance, like I said, the people on the street, how are they feeling it? And that is how it's going to shape the 2027 election.
Okay.
Coming back to the topic, the 2027 election is going to be shaped by the empathy of governance. But then,
the big question again, do we have the right alternative?
But then, I'm coming to the alternative. But then, the empathy we're talking about here now is not the empathy of sorry, like I said before.
No.
It is the empathy of progress. Prosperity, measurable progress, not just progress. Because you may be progressing in Abuja and the other states are not progressing. Are you getting me? Yes. But then measurable progress. This is how Nigerians are going to look at the 2027 election and then vote in alignment with it. And then coming back to that your question.
Yeah, because we don't know if the alternatives, so-called alternatives, even feel the pain that Nigerians feel.
You see, last week we had a meeting of the Southern leaders. We had some members in attendance. And then we tabled this matter of the alternative. Truth of the matter is that we have messed ourselves up. Even the alternatives have messed themselves up.
Wow.
That's the truth.
So you mean to say there are no positive alternatives?
There are positive alternatives, but the alternatives keep...
Or there is a positive alternative?
There are positive alternatives.
Okay.
There are alternatives. However...
There's hope for this.
No, listen to me first. Oh, however, the alternatives you are talking about are not even smart enough. You know, when you want to bail a cat, you must behave like a cat. Number one, stealth. Number two, invisibility. The cat is invisible. That's why they say the cat has 9 lives. It's not really 9 lives in quote. The cat is invisible because the cat is very careful. You know, even the Bible says, do not be careful for nothing. Is it not? Is it not? But then, the third one is wisdom. Wisdom. You cannot say that you want to be an alternative and you cannot even take care of the internal dispute in your own house. How can a man rule a nation when he cannot even take care of his wife and his children at home? So that is
well, there's actually, let me move the question to you, sir. There have actually been allegations speaking about the alternative not being able to manage their houses. I mean, I had a conversation with an NDC chieftain yesterday where he said it's not a case of us not being able to handle our internal crisis. It's a case of the president or the current administration not allowing us to breathe. Right, so there's been allegations and counter-allegations of the presidency, or the president or the government of the day feeling some of this crisis and the different alternatives that we've actually seen in Nigeria.
That's President Tinubu is basically, just be plain, is orchestrating trouble within their... However, when Tinubu was governor of Lagos State, I was in Lagos, and Olusegun Obasanjo didn't allow him to breathe. What did he do? That's what he's just saying. So the idea of pushing blames here and there, you sort out your home. If you know this is the problem, if even the presidency or the president is after you because of 2027, then you should think of what to do. Because he also suffered similar fate when he was governor of Lagos State, and there were issues of local government allocations that were not, and he knew what to do. So leadership is all about inspiring the people and knowing what to do in critical times, and that's just the issue. So the idea of maybe posing blame, like we talked, I don't want to go into so many other things, like we talk about insecurity. In my opinion, if you want to get my opinion on that, there's no insecurity in Nigeria.
What do you say?
I said there is no security.
Let me get no security.
Hold on.
I believe I didn't hear you. You mean there's no security?
There's no insecurity in Nigeria. Abacha made a renowned statement that...
we should be careful what we say anyway.
Hold on, I'm coming.
I think I know where he's going
I'm coming. Let me land.
Okay, let him land. Because this is going to extend now.
Now, what I'm saying in essence is, he said every insurgency that lasts 48 hours, the government of the day is involved. I was in China some time ago. Okay. That was January. And then what happened? And I slept off, right? Left my wallet, $700 or so, and I slept off. And I got off the taxi, got back to my hotel room. I was wondering what happened. And then what did I do? They said, don't worry, don't worry. Go back to where you went to. And I went there. Check surveillance. They checked. They saw me getting out of the optical
taxi.
Pharmacy where I went to. And then I got out and they saw the taxi and they zoomed it and they went on to their surveillance.
Wow.
And the surveillance opened the entire area for me and spot me out coming out. And then what did they do? And they looked into the vehicle and saw my wallet and saw another passenger, Chinese woman, picking it up, giving it to the driver. Not that she's a saint. They know that everybody's watched.
That's a prudent system.
That's what I'm talking about. I got it back. Now, that's what I'm saying. When I say there's no, it made this. You said the governor said I would demolish, and they stopped. If we're all watching it, nobody can go and see a big man. Are you getting it now? Maybe you are my friend. Something happened. So, oh, barrister, take it easy.
Yeah, but what you just painted, you still have the floor. What you just painted,
because the statement, the opening statement,
yes, what you just said
is no.
Exactly. What you just said, there are gaps. As regards security in Nigeria, how do you measure or how do you
there's no insecurity in Nigeria
without reporting?
It means that all those things that have been happening, which has even happened in our own state and our own
self-inflicted,
are not true.
It's self-inflicted disaster. It's been people are even family kidnapping now and getting money from their folks. Hold on.
Yes, I want you to make a comparative analysis.
Yes.
From the country you went to with that of Nigeria as regards
security,
insecurity,
tackling
security,
governance in what way? Everybody's busy with their business, doing their stuff. Nobody cares about government. Nobody knows who is governor or who is not governor. It's only in Nigeria you talk about government.
As regards tackling insecurity,
there is nothing to tackle because everybody is being watched.
No, because there is security.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So why have we been able to do that? You talk about you are deploying. Let's go. Let's use let's use surveillance.
What are your frustrations about the Ahmed Bola Tinubu's administration as regards all of this? We say,
like I did said before, it's not an Ahmed Tinubu. It's a Nigerian thing. Tinubu is a Nigerian. And even if I would not even want to be. The constitution already, I'm a lawyer for goodness sake. Is that a constitution you have? Compare it with other constitutions. I don't have to go into that. We are not here to argue here. I don't believe in that anymore. At my level now and age, I think I'm saying better now. So you shouldn't be arguing that. You already know you have a problem with your constitution. Wow, like the comfort of 2014, what happened? These are things we should be asking ourselves.
Okay.
I'm not going into that. Hold on.
Not a problem with the administration.
Okay. What I'm saying, I think I should let me.
No, you are not because
everybody's
in this jurisdiction, you are not the judge. The viewers are the judge.
If I may just quickly come in. Sorry, I'm not interjecting, but let me just quickly come in a little. Now, yes. The constitution is not perfect as compared to constitutions in other countries, but however, let us work with what we have. Working with what we have, what have we been able to achieve with it? Are you getting me? Now, a situation where you are a lawyer, thank God. A situation where you have a constitutional document and you still find a way to bend it.
Bend what?
And you still, no, not you. I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
I'm talking about government. I'm talking about governance. A situation where you have a working document, it is very clear, and you still try to find loopholes. You still try to wave and bend it. Are you getting me? How can that constitution even work? We don't even allow constitution to work. The small constitution we are all managing, we don't even allow it to work. So the problem is not with constitution. You said something about Nigerians, that it is a Nigerian problem. Insecurity is a Nigerian problem.
And you were talking about corruption as a person.
Yes, corruption is a person. Yes. It is I'm talking that corruption is here.
The problems to
corruption is even here now.
What do you mean by corruption is here
now? Because let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I say corruption is in this place.
Right.
Because at every point in time, okay, let me give you an example. Madam, if you are on a queue and I cite you from, you are in a filling station, you want to buy a fuel. I cite you from far, as the manager from upstairs. I said, no. Let that woman buy first. I know her.
That's grace.
Will you not be happy?
That's grace.
That is corruption. That is corruption.
No, it's not corruption.
No, that is corruption. Because you are not...
Identify personalities.
No, it is corruption. It is corruption. It never existed so. Because there's not preference. So it means that those people who have been on the queue for hours, they are fools.
Exactly.
Do you sit down? So you can see.
That's where the problem starts.
Yes. And I am also a guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it. Now, let's leave that. Let us now come back home. Now you talk about, are we going to be the one? The last time I checked, I'm not the commander-in-chief. So I cannot order any military general around. I cannot tell Coas to do this or do that. No, it is the work of the president. So let us not shift the responsibility of the president or the governor to the citizens. We know our responsibilities as citizens. Our responsibility is to vote the right people, they pay our taxes, and be law-abiding. That is where our duties stop.
Okay, how does the electorate own the 2027 election in all of this? Because we don't want a situation whereby vote buying will continue to determine who gets what, when, and how.
So now, the electorate in 2027, like I said, empathy of the presidency or of the state governors is going to determine the voting pattern of 2027.
So which means economic hardship will drive the voters.
Yes. The government of the day have not shown empathy. They have been showing sympathy, which is wrong. Sympathy and pity is even more insulting to the intelligence of the electorate. Like me, my brother can be president tomorrow or governor tomorrow. I can be governor tomorrow. Somebody should tell me that my policies are not working. Tell me to my face.
Thank you, Dr.
And when you do that, then I'll be able to correct myself.
Thank you, Dr. Michael Obasoyu. Just 10 seconds from you to react to that as a round of remarks, Dr. Patrick.
Thank you very much. I should use 10 seconds to react to all you people have been doing to me. You have begged me to do. That's good. Well, what I want to say is this. When I said insecurity, there's none, it's because I know that if we're serious, we fix it. That's just reality.
Okay.
Fix it.
Okay.
With surveillance, you can get all these things tracked. And that's all.
The government can do it.
Thank you, Dr. Patrick Awosage, Esquire. Big thanks for taking attend part of this. And of course, to you, our medical doctor here, Dr. Michael Obasoyu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
And wish you a beautiful day ahead of you. Well, we'll take a short break, after which we will be having Abuja to take off from where we left off. Do stay.
some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate.
All right, welcome to the Abuja Network Center of Independent Television, ITV. Over here, we are going to be looking at, I think it's almost something that my colleagues there in Benin City are talking about, the economy and the 2027 election, which is around the corner. We've had the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar faulting, the present administration's claims of trying to, revitalize the Nigerian economy. He has said through his public communications assistant, special assistant to public communication, Frank Shuaibu, that this administration claims on public debt, subsidy removal, debt servicing, and workers' welfare are contradicted. They contradict public, facts that are available to the public. It means that he is saying that the federal government under the leadership of President Bola are not saying things the way they are, that they are deceiving Nigerians, according to him. And then in the studio, I have with me Femi Bejide, who is a public affairs analyst, to help us make meaning of these allegations. I think it's just allegations and counter-allegations. When the presidency gets back to him as the former vice president, tells him that what he's saying is not in the books, the same vice president has a way of getting back. Well, we don't know if this is related to the forthcoming general elections, if it is to discredit one or they are actually saying what it is. Mr. Bejide, you've had conversations. It's been from here to there, from there to there, and then can we say that you've seen the claims of the former vice president? Can we say they are actually valid?
Yes, good morning, Nigerians. It's expected anyway, because politically, the former vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is of the opposition. So that is expected. And looking at the Nigerian politics, even when something is good, you say it's bad. You don't give credit to anything that is good. So his claims are unfounded, actually, and it is clear because the Nigerian economy and this present government are what we call, they are in three processes. From 2023 to date, we have the pit, the and the profit. The pit, the process, profit. The pit is when the enemy is in doldrum, when the presidency, the debt is huge to pay. And if
it has gone up now.
No. Right. If you have the figure of the debt that this government inherited, 97% of the revenue was being used to service the debt. That's why previous administration kept on borrowing to be able to even to pay salaries. It's as bad as that. If you recall, just about 5 years ago, not too far, in the previous administration, about 27 states, they are unable to pay salaries. The states are, in quandrum. Then, and the economy is mono economy, which everybody have been talking ever since. Diversification. So these three are major, burden that the present administration inherited. The mono economy factor, everybody dependent on, so much on oil, and 27 states unable to pay their salaries, and 97% of your income to be servicing debt. How do you come out of that? Should he also keep on borrowing again so that our future of our children will be mortgaged as it has been already? The present president said, no, I won't do that. And every economist should know better that the best to do first is to pay debt. Make sure that you find a way of paying your debt. You are at zero level now. You cannot begin to build up and begin to save. But the story is different today. Within just 3 years, how many states do you see talking that they have not paid their salaries? States? No. No state is saying that. Why? Because when the president came in, the first day, even at the Equal Square, everybody knows,
Yes.
he removed the subsidy immediately. Yes, he removed the subsidy. That very day, I think 187 naira per liter, I remember, because in the evening I went to the police station, they say 570. Within just few hours. But today it's gone up to 1,500, back to 1,000, back to 700. Now, a little bit 1,000. Now. Federal system. Our thing is observations and everything presidency. So why?
That was on the path to economic recovery. And have free square meals on their table.
Yes, what our previous administration, what have they done? I've just brought the debt, the burden of the debt. That one is very, very serious because these are foreign debts that we have a lot of support, goodwill from the from outside. And if we have debt and we are not paying, we are owing them, we are not paying, they don't have confidence. So now, look at what the government inherited this.
Every government will always inherit something.
Yes, but it should be minimal, not so much like this. It has never been up to this level. Up to this level. I don't want to talk so much about the past administration, the borrowing, and I mean, it's in the media that the money borrowed by that administration is more than what the other administration have borrowed collectively together.
Has this not exceeded the amount of money borrowed by previous administration?
No,
the current economic
it has not even reached there at all. At all. You see, what the pit, the process, the profit. We are in the pit, and we are even no longer in the pit anymore. because the pit is where you feel the pains.
The pain is still there.
It's not there. It's not there. It's going gradually. Let us be realistic. You see, just like somebody having a, maybe fever, malaria fever. Of course, you say go and take drugs. But when it comes to cancerous, you don't take drugs. You say let us go do surgical operations. Drugs, we didn't take it as all. You've forgotten. But surgical operations, sometimes we can be there for 5 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours. Sometimes 18 hours.
So you're describing the situation we found ourselves in now as
yes.
that of cancerous situation.
It's cancerous. And what the presidency is doing now is to find out to stop the cancer from spreading. And one of the cancerous something is the corruption. We have the corruption as major one, insecurity. For example, throughout last year, up to now, in the federal level, no allocation have been released. Not intentional, that to cause pain, but most of the, loopholes and leakages are from there. The government said, let us keep this money and use it to service debt so that we have more confidence, investors can come. Economy have been diversified. It's no longer a mono economy. We have agriculture now, we have solid minerals that is bringing much money now to the economy. By the time this administration goes on the 4th year or 2nd term, then the gains will be appearing. Just like planting a seed. You water it, you have to wait for it to grow. But Nigerians are impatient. But for me, what I'm saying is that there was a time, not too long ago, that we have this thing in Nigeria, the bag. Remember, Ghana must go. People does not understand, the young generation doesn't understand Ghana must go. They thought that's the name. But that is the bag they use. Ghanaians in Nigeria then, in their millions, were deported back to Ghana. It was so bad then. But you know when the government came there, Rawlings, J.J. Rawlings, you know what he did and everything. Now, see the gains now. For the past 15 years, Ghana has been increasing and increasing. Nigeria, every nation get to a point.
Has it not taken too long for this process to take place? I mean, trying to get Nigeria back on its feet.
It's not a process. It's a process, but those other administrations, they are not following the process. It's lip service. This is the only government that is coming, headlong. At least 2 administrations back, they accepted that we remove it. They didn't remove it. No political will. Until this one comes, the very first day.
Let's take a look at cost of governance. I think that's one of the issues that we have kept on meditating against several successive governments. Cost of governance. We have an issue now on ground about a fake agency that the federal government didn't know, or claimed that they don't know how it came on board. And several, millions or billions of naira must have been appropriated to this particular agency. These are ways Nigerian money. That one is just one of the ways Nigerian money is just being spent without, real accountability, and then monies keep going, and then Nigerians don't tend to, see what is actually happening in terms of giving Nigerians the dividends of democracy.
Yes, you are right. There is no perfect economy or perfect state in any nation in the world, even in the United States. The democracy we are practicing, there are still traces of some corruption, of course. If you're following, CNN last week, there are people who are charged even in the present administration of Trump. So there will be 1 or 2 like that. We can't have 100%. Now again, this one that was exposed, of course, people are just saying this is the amount allocated in the budget for it. As they release the money, that's what we have to know. No money has been released because the government is trying to conserve money to pay debt and to channel some things to critical infrastructures. Look at Badagry, Sokoto Badagry road. Look at the Coastal Road.
Coastal Road. That's another area where there are a lot of controversies over.
There is no controversy. The government is trying to fund it because they know that will boost economy. It's very important. That Coastal Road, very, very important. And the last administration, the one they didn't finish, from Abuja to Kaduna to Kano to Maradi in Niger.
That's rail line.
Rail line, yes. These three were picked because of the economic strategy that it will boost. That's why the presidency chose that. And for me, it is very perfect and good. Out of no money, you are trying to pay debts, to save money, and to invest in critical infrastructures. It's a matter of little time. Then they begin to see. Just we are in labor pain now, about to give birth. Nigeria, we have passed pregnancy, of course. Now, we are at that 11th hour to give birth. And I believe that this administration is the administration that will deliver. Because many administrations have said so. Past administration, let me say personally, the past administration, when they came into power and they said 3 months, I'm going to crush Boko Haram, insecurity, of course, because it's a former military something. I was one of the persons that believed and even talked. But at the end of the day, after 8 years, but these 3 years now, I can roll out for you what the administration have done.
Those are things Nigerians need to know.
Yeah,
need to know
I will say it.
Areas
Yes.
that you think this administration must have covered. Now to discredit whatever the former vice president is saying, that Nigerians are not really seeing what this administration is doing in terms of economic recovery.
I'm a retired federal government civil servant. How many times do you see retirees, pensioners, like before, talking?
People are still talking.
No. You see, what are they talking? 3 years, you have not gotten your pension. But now, within 3 months that you have retired, you get it. Pension increased. Gratuity was removed about 14 or 16 years ago when I was in level 10 then. But now, it has been restored beginning from 4th January this year. And what is gratuity? I mean, whenever any civil servant retire, 1 year's salary will be paid to you in block. And your pension, within 3 months, started running. What can we say to these things? What can we say to these things? When we are talking about the university, we are talking about some other sectors. They have been agitating for 70 years of retirement. This government have approved it. What do you want to do? Do you use ASU since when? 2014. ASU and federal government signed an agreement, and no administration since then up to now pay lip service. Our academic something is being disrupted every time. I have a son.
There have been issues about it.
It has been resolved and settled, and the money being paid. I mean, you see, many things people, many things the government is doing, but silently trying to, the time will come when they will talk. I believe the campaign will soon start now, and you will see evidences of all these things.
I just hope so. The fact now, let's take a look at the tax reforms. This administration is coming up with it, and it appears to be biting hard on Nigerians. And then, I don't know the structure in which Nigerians are expected to, remit taxes and all those. They appear to be so burdensome on the ordinary Nigerians. Can you give us an insight of what you know about these tax reforms? Why you think is one of those things being done by the administration to ensure that Nigeria's economy is revived once again?
Okay. I've said, number one, there is a huge debt that must be
paid. That's why Nigerians must be.
No, we are the one that owes. We are the one that is going to pay. Is Ghana coming to pay for us? No. And every responsible government, look inward. Look inward. You think outside the box, how to generate money. That's why you say taxpayers' money. Taxpayers' money. Mm-hmm. In advanced country, Nigeria will quote in UK, in Brazil, in this, in France. What they do, their citizens, they don't want to do it here. You see good road, and yet you don't want to pay tax. There are many loopholes in Nigeria where people that are not captured, they are not paying anything. Apart from the federal government, state government, civil service and agencies, and some companies, corporate companies, almost 80% of Nigerians are not paying tax.
Yeah, they
have to be captured.
To pay tax. It is about another thing to look at the amount and then the way it is structured for payment.
Let me tell you, this tax is not so much. If we want to be serious and to be sincere to ourselves, when I was a civil servant, how much I did taken out of my salary for tax? I think it's about 7,000 per month. 7,000. All those artisans that they are trying to tax, how much? It depends on your income that you declared. So maybe at the end we get maybe 500, this one, 2,000, this one, Why can't you pay 2,000 to get a good road? It seems small, but the point here is that a little drop, be looking at our number, over 250 million people, a little drop makes a mighty ocean to be able to use. It also gives you a sense of belonging, a sense of responsibility as a citizen. Citizen has their own duties. And you have to pay that, do that duty. You have to.
Are you saying that when this tax reform, comes into real effect, yes, when it's well harmonized, you think we'll be able to sort out this debt that Nigeria is deeply into?
The debt is over 50% solved already within this just 3 years. Down. I think we are owing it's down now to about 50-something billion remaining. So, and the foreign reserves also have been increased so much. So the government, these are the things that it don't say much, because the president doesn't believe in talking. Do the work. When the time to talk comes, we talk. So the foreign exchange, everybody knows that. Even the former vice president knows that our foreign exchange have been stabilized. We are all here in this nation, Nigeria. The gap between the CBN and the black market have reduced drastically, almost the same, that you will not be wanting to patronize the black market anymore. No government, previous government, have been able to do this.
How have we been able to?
And it's stabilizing our economy, and it's giving confidence to foreign investors, and also making one to be able to plan that, okay, within this 6 months, within this 1 year, 2 years, this can happen, this will happen. That is it.
As an oil-producing country,
yes,
the Middle East unrest is kind of affecting, economy worldwide, and including that of Nigeria. But we believe that as an oil-producing country, we should be able to, leverage on our ability to, get our oils, our oil out, and perhaps be on top of the situation in terms of getting Nigerians, not to really feel the impact of this international, economic quagmire.
Have you feel the impact of what is happening in the Middle East? What is happening in the Middle East is just about going to 2 months now. Am I right?
Yes.
And when the war started, U.S., Israel, Iran war, yes. How much is the price of our oil? About 1,400. But now it's 1,200, 1,300, depending upon which filling stations. It's going down. Yes, the price of the oil market is rising. Why? Because government give a political backup to Dangote refinery to make it to come on board. And the importance of that, why government gave him that support, is that our crude is being refined here instead of waiting foreign exchange to begin to refine it outside and bringing it in. We don't do that anymore. Everything is being refined by Dangote, and all the local consumption being supplied by him. So he has reduced our foreign, depending on the foreign so much. That's number one. Number two, conserve our foreign, strengthen our local currency. Four, there are multiplier chain companies that are all under downline the chain of the petroleum line, that they keep in business. So these are what people does not realize. Things are getting better and better. Things are getting better, I'm telling you. You see, let us leave politics. Let us leave politics.
Yeah, because in less than 2 weeks here, the presidential campaigns against the 2027 will be kicking off. And
yes.
There are issues that will come up there for us.
All these things. Yes, maybe I'm just like a Baptist, a forerunner. But that time when it comes, you will hear realities and proofs and evidences. But believe you me, things are getting better and better. Why? Who are saying things are not getting better? Look at those who are saying it. You know, it's just not for people to just say something.
Everybody's saying it, even those on the streets.
Everybody.
Everybody. Nigerians on the streets are saying that things are becoming more difficult.
Like what?
And it's a very long process. We have been in it for quite a long while. Why should Nigerians continue being in it?
Why should Nigerians be? Just like somebody that it is projected that you are going to deliver. EDD, expected delivery date is today. Then the person is not yet in labor. Do you say, because of that you got angry and carried the... No. The labor starts.
All right.
And delivery comes.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Abejide. It's wonderful having you again on this show this morning.
Thank you.
All right. I will be handing over to our Lagos Network Center where Patricia is on standby to take over. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us on the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. It is 4th of August and Lagos is so beautiful. I think it's going to be sunny today and, you know, I'm sure Lagosians are very excited with this development. It's 4th of August, and if you ask me, the month is running very fast and the elections campaign is coming very, very close. I think in 2 weeks' time the campaigns will start all around the country. And so that brings us to today's topic, what we'll be looking at today's topic. Very recently, the candidates all submitted their credentials to INEC, and we have President Tinubu's credentials submitted to INEC, and actually it is actually causing a whole lot of why would it be this and why would it be that from Nigerians. And to look at this with me this morning, it's my friend. We have just had an argument before we came on board. He's my friend, Mr. Chris Ososa. Mr. Chris Ososa is a political analyst. And, you know, very pretty soon you'll find out why Chris and I had an argument. But anyway, let me go straight. Chris, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
We won't fight, don't worry.
Right.
Okay, so we're looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's credentials that was submitted to INEC. Only academic certificate needed was from Chicago State University, and a lot of Nigerians claims it is different from the one he presented in 1999. Let's start from there, Chris.
All right. Good morning, Nigerians. I'd like to introduce the elections, campaigns about opening, and then, the terrain will be very tough, and then all of the drama in our political scene. All right, come to the credentials of Mr. President. All right, let me start by saying that he has not breached the law. The law asks for minimum requirements as school SATs or its equivalent. And the equivalent, as interpreted by the law to school SAT, is being able to read and then write. All right. So, and then, so if you don't have minimum and you presented probably what we call maximum, or in that class, tertiary institution certificate, which is from the Chicago State University. You have not breached the law. So it's important we start by saying that it is of course in course. The law is not broken and it is not defiled, so it's on the right path. Now, a lot of people are questioning, how come you don't have primary school, you don't have secondary school, and then you have a university certificate? That should be, that's controversial. And
it's on the screen right now. Okay, it's showing that it doesn't have primary, it doesn't have secondary.
Now, the remedial study. Now, in America, he attended Richard J. Daley College. It's a remedial college, remedial school. It's also known as college in Chicago. So what the remedial study does is that it helps to give academic, designed to reteach basic skills, all right, field learning, and help students reach expected grade level, proficiency, subject like reading, writing, and all of that. So there is the remedial study bridge the gap of what is missing in the foundational education, to help prepare students, to measure up to. And then, so he attended remedial study that helped him, bridge the gap, and also qualified him to attend the University of
let me come in there. So this remedial, whatever you call it, do they not issue certificates? How come he doesn't have the certificate to present?
No, it doesn't have to. It's a remedial study.
They do not issue certificates?
They probably do or something, but it's the basic design.
If he had the certificate, you expect Mr. President to add it to his university?
It's optional. It's optional for him. If it's optional, you cannot kill him for, submitting to what is optional. What is basic for him is because is submitting.
It's optional, so he could have also chose to submit that other one than the Chicago State University.
The thing is this: meeting the threshold of qualification, which is the Chicago State University that he submitted. So if he has PhD, he could choose not to submit it. If he has other remedial, he could choose. But the thing is, what is basic with the law is the fact that he should submit minimum of school stats, all right, or something advanced, and he chose to submit the Chicago State University. The question here should be, is the Chicago State University certificate authentic? That should be the
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll come to so many things surrounding this.
Okay.
Everybody touched the aspect of saying, I think I heard Sowore and people saying this certificate was different from what he presented in 1999.
Okay, fine. Now, what happened is this. In 1999, there's this guy called Afikuyomi, all right? Now, Afikuyomi was the one that filled his form when he was going for governorship in the state. Now, Afikuyomi made the mistake of filling in University of Chicago State University, just like we have in Lagos, University of Lagos, Lagos State University, all right? So it was just that a mistake. Now, politics could be very damaging and dangerous. Afikuyomi has been a Tinubu boy for many years. They were together in the Nareko struggle in London and all of that. So if Afikuyomi did that intentionally to scandalize him, or it was a honest mistake, is what we don't really know, because eventually they fell out. And then the certificate leaked out. So we don't know if Afikuyomi did that intentionally to scandalize him, or it was an honest mistake. But however, they went about all of that. It was a big drama then in Lagos and all of that. It was almost impeached, and it was a big problem. But then it was able to correct it, all right, in 2003, 2003, yeah. So to Chicago State, not University of Chicago. That was corrected.
Chris, we have also heard say, I am not particularly sure of this, but we've heard say that the school, Chicago State University, also claims that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is found in their file, it's a woman, not a man.
That's not true, because I have seen it's in the public domain. In that book that the pictures of the ground, we saw that he's there.
Academic book or
academic
something.
book, whatever. Yes. And then he is there. His picture was there. A graduate with honors in accounting. In fact, it was even a prize winner. Coming out of that set. I think like the 79 or thereabouts. We've seen his classmates. All right. One of them came to Nigeria one time, and then when he became president, and got I think for is it the farming, whatever, tractors and all of that, supply that. So it is clear. Omokri was one of the critics of Tinubu. So this guy, he did a whole lot to damage Tinubu. That means Reno Omokri. This same guy went all the way to Chicago State University to obtain facts to damage Tinubu further. And when he got there, he met the shock of his life. He saw that everything was planning to get, he met the contrary. All right, he got certified, evidence that the guy went to the school, certificate was issued, and all of that. That he graduated from the school with honors. Okay, and then it was clear about that, so he could no longer use that against him. I mean, we're talking about Reno Omokri that was calling him drug baron and all of that, went on here claiming all of those things. So he actually went to that same school to obtain facts to damage the president. But what he made was contrary. He made the facts on the table. And he said he was honest enough while he was still antagonizing the president. He was honest enough to.
I see that you came prepared. We'll move further. We'll move further from that. But the question most families and Nigerians will be asking right now is, with the presentation of the president's certificate to INEC, presenting just the Chicago State University, what lesson are you showing to the children in Nigeria? Because as a Nigerian, we believe that, from nursery to primary, from primary to secondary, you take your JAMB, and then you get into the uni. When you come out from uni, you do your youth service, and then you seek for job. Okay. Now, and when you are seeking for job, all these certificates are required to be submitted. Now, Mr. President, as the president of the country, is submitting just the Chicago State University. According to you, that is what INEC needs. You can submit just one. It could be your secondary, it could be your university certificate. But what do you think he is saying to the children? If he has all of these certificates, wouldn't it have been proper for him to submit all of this?
Okay, let me start by
just to clarify something to the children.
Let me start by saying here, we see on a daily basis how that life is not fair to all same, track. All right, some people are better privileged growing up, some are not. It is obvious that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that is president of Nigeria today, had a very rough background. He was on the streets, and today that is the president of Nigeria is a source of inspiration to people not quitting. He had a very, very horrible and ugly background.
You are saying that it looks like you grew up with him.
No, because it's in the public domain. In fact, this same thing came up while they were trying to impeach him then as Lagos State Governor, and he told his story. And his story, of course, we all know about the Tinubu story, okay? All right, so he told his story. As a matter of fact, the same man who was going to impeach him broke down in tears. You understand? Because when he told his story, how he grew from grass to grace, okay? Now, we know people, even today, with very horrible background, all right, that are not even privileged to have attended primary, secondary school, and all of that. And some of these people fought hard, okay, to emerge being something great in life, okay? Now, back then in those days, I know someone who was instrumental to a Lagos State governor, committees of Lagos State. I know him personally. In the 90s, this man studied from home. He did a secondary school. He did GC from home. He set with Banking and Finance, University of Lagos.
Issued a GC certificate.
University of Lagos.
No, for the GC was issued a certificate.
Probably, yes. What I'm just trying to tell you now, that he did not have primary, secondary school education, but yet he graduated as a banker. The Fawcett University of Lagos. Now, the Lumeri, after Babalola, never went for Warsaw schools. The same after Babalola, what acclaimed luminary, as primary school either. Quite a lot of them in that class, all right, that back then, Asset education was not as cheap as it is today. So what I'm saying is,
you're not getting it clear. You're not getting the question clear. They did attend primary and secondary, but they of course did GCE.
Yes.
And the certificate was is the reason why they could get into the universities in Nigeria. So we are saying certificate issued to president before getting to the University of Chicago.
Okay, fine. He did remedial study. Now, if remember the Harvard Richard J. Daley College remedial study, if they gave or not, I don't. But what is important is that he attended that school. It can be verified. That was what gave him the qualification to attend the University of Chicago State University. The issue here is this. It is at your, what's that word now? You are at liberty to issue any of the certificates. I also know another presidential candidate who claimed he went to Nsukka, but submitted his GC credential to INEC. He didn't submit the university. He graduated from Nsukka, submitted his GC. Nobody's questioning that because he had met the threshold of the minimum, which is school SAT, or being able to write English. Okay, but he submitted his GCE. But we all know that at least what is the public domain was attended. But he didn't submit that. He submitted just because it is a disposal to choose which one to submit. So if the president said, okay, I am submitting just Chicago State University, he has not. So why can't he just let him be? He's not a must. All of the other candidates.
Let me come to this very important question of you are all asking. You have just described the reason why the president probably chose to submit the Chicago State University. But President Tinubu's educational background remained a subject of public debate. Because it has become a public debate.
Yes. Now,
you know the up and down with Atiku wanting to go to the US and all of that. Why is it a debate?
Two things. I was trying to say something earlier. You didn't give me enough time to establish that we're all not privileged with our back. Now, so have it very, very rough. And then if as we speak now, as westernized as Nigeria education is, there are still quite a number in the West here. No, we understand their issue with ill education and all of that. Even in the part of Nigeria, there's still some people that still do not have access to education one way or the other. They are not, you just don't. So these are people with very, very rough background. Mr. President was on the streets. He rose from he had it rough from the street, okay? And you can't take that back. You cannot go back to the past and then start to rewrite that. Now, he probably never knew he would come to public office like this, but because he has such a rough and tough background, does that disqualify him for aspiring for Mr. President? Now, what that is actually saying is an inspiration for those that are having it rough today. That today you can see emerge your own great.
Chris, there has been significant ups and downs with the president's certifications and schooling. That is a major problem. That is the reason why it seems like everybody is questioning the credentials that he submitted to INEC. How do you explain all of that?
That's for me, it's just a blackmail. Why? Because if he said he attended Chicago State University and they brought a certificate to that effect, for crying out loud, all you need to do is to go to that school, to the glory of God. Yeah, it's an American institution. You cannot bribe your way through American institution in Africa or whatever. You can't do that with the US. All right? So he has made sure the university is visible. Just go there, make inquiry if he had to or not. If he got something from the school or not. Chicago State University is still very much around. Just go there to make your findings. Then if he has lied, then you can charge him, against for forgery and all of that, and you disqualify him. But now, because he had an issue with 1999 with University of Chicago, University, that is what some people are just, lashing on. And then, you see this game.
Are you able to clarify that?
Of course he did. He corrected it by saying it is actually Chicago State University, not University of Chicago. He clarified that.
Is that in the public domain?
Of course, yes. But the thing is this, in politics, our weapons are fair. So what the opponents will do is to discredit you before the public. So once you have a little comma, they will play it up. It is not political language. That is what everyone will do. The moment they see there's a crash, you exploit it. Now, what they try to do is to position the mind of the public against you. It is the battle of, it doesn't matter if you have the correct credential. At the moment that there is at some point, they will keep regurgitating it during the election cycle, and they try to exploit it to dissuade the mind of the public. It's just a political game. But unfortunately, they will get to some people that are not deep enough in their thinking, because if it's so crystal, if we are unbiased, if you went to a school, and the school is very much around, just go to that school and no, they understand that there's some Nigeria just shallow in that was throw up a controversy and then but leave them on. They don't have the depth and the patience to look deep, and they just run with that. Politician knows that they know Nigerians, so what they will keep doing, they will keep fueling that just to destroy of the people. It's this particular candidate, which is Mr. President. It's a political tactic. It's just a political tactic. That is as simple as that.
Okay, let's look at how of all of this.
Okay.
Do you think, or rather, what role do you call if this prizes over the submission of credentials?
It's simple. The hallmark, the symbol of the court makes it very simple. You see the person with the blindfolded, and all of that is with the hacks and all that. That is to say, the law is blind to sentiment and all
do you think the law is blind?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Be truthful.
I will not put down. It is simple. The one is black and white. It is black and white. It is simply stated. The court is school for his equivalent of being able to read, and then all of that, and that by a university certificate. So by law, it is qualified. It is qualified by law.
What there's a dispute?
There's a dispute. That's why that is the essence of the court. You now go to the court to prove that this man. The provision in Nigeria says that once is a criminal offense, and then in any public office you'll be removed. Well, remember Buhari, right? In 1999, he fought Toronto University, and once he resigned, he left. So if his Mr. Prayer can prove the lie about the Chicago State University, I think because the court work with things, then that's in the court. Or not to give to disqualify Mr. President. It's as simple as that. But if you're not able to present an end, and you're just with sentiment here and there, the court will not be that. It's as simple as that. So if you want to get on your side, you should be able to present concrete evidence that he forged a certificate. That way, the court can act on that. But in the play, you are just playing to the gallery, to the public, and all of that, and then you're not presenting any evidence. I mean, the court will not say because you're opposition, so it'll be sympathetic with and then not do the right thing. It's as simple and as clear as that. All of this is just political drama, and then they all understand again. The people that are prosecuting him knows that he attended the school. All they are doing is just to exploit, in the story 99, just to paint public picture. That is what politics is all about. But at this time, is to control the thoughts of the public, to edit a particular candidate to the they don't vote for him. That's all you need to do. It's politics. It's all fair and good. It's a war. It's all fair and good. That's what happened. Behind the curtain, they will laugh, they will shake hands and all that. Because they all know it. All right? They all do. Okay.
But President's body, how do you expect, what would you have expected, Mr. President, or how would you expect him to react with all of this? Because his body language not speaking to like and care.
No, it's simple. He understands the game. Now, if you are throwing it at him, and then if he's responding to it by speaking and all of that, you'll be giving more vim to the point. All right. So all he's saying is this: if you think I'm lying about this, go to court. So if he's talking it, saying was just giving to the controversy, and it will work. So what you do is dissuade it, because you're in the school, you know that you got the certificate for it, and then the best place for you to be is not a public domain per se. Go to the court. So by giving attention to it, we'll be fueling the whole controversy the more, and the more it is sustained, the more it works against him. So if he ignores it, with no time, it dies off. That's just a way to. You don't have to respond. You have to react. So he is reacting, not responding, and that's a good one for him.
Campaigns are hitting off from in about 2 weeks' time, and and the general election, of course, 2027 is just around the corner too. With his credential, do you think this will influence voters' confidence come 2027?
Well, there are a lot of things that determines voters coming out, and then voters' apathy. A lot of factors. It can't just be this singular issue. of course, with some people, they might want to hold on to this, and then, you know, people that refuse to look into details, they might just say, if our leaders are in this kind of controversy and blah, 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 point. That might just discourage some people. It's a fact that could happen. The fact that some people are not confident on the, let me say, being neutral could dissuade some other people. Some people could be like, you know what, out of all of this candidates, I don't even see any that is what the why for me. And so why do I need to vote? You know, that could be that. You know, there are a lot of factors that could influence some people not wanting to participate in the election. But on the other hand, too, there are a lot of reasons for some others to want to be a part of the electoral process. 1 million Nigerian youth are benefiting from NEL fund to want to vote. And all of us social media, we are seeing them singing the president for giving them NEL fund, all right? That's a student loan, because some of these people are able to go to school, all right, if there's no provision of such. And then they are already hearing other candidates, other leading opposition candidates saying that they are going to cancel NEL fund. So some of these people, because they want to defend that, and their parents want to defend that, that might give them a reason to want to vote, all right? Like the coastal super highway, the people at that edge of the coastal states and all of that see that as a very opportunity, and seeing the opposition parties are already saying they will stop it and all of that. So that coastal highway, the continuity of it, might be a motivation for some people around that axis to want to vote. All right. So there are
a lot of people around that axis too are also complaining that the creation of the coastal road is causing flood for them. So if you're talking about the positivity, there's also the negativity. So the votes might be divided.
That is not true. What happened with Starway, equating Coastal Way to flood, is just politics. Now, you need to understand how politics work out. Now, what I would do is this. If we are contesting against each other, I'll come up with something good that will get the public on your side. What will I do? I will try to play down on it. I will try to make it look bad and horrible.
But these are not politicians speaking. These are Lagosians living around the area.
You don't get it. Some people, so it doesn't have to be politicians speaking, because I want to save myself. So what I do, I have people working for me. I have food soldiers. So what we need to do is just drive a narrative. Somebody starts the narrative, okay? Somebody drives and influence public opinion. That happens. That's how to play. So sometimes I want to cover myself, okay? I want to shield myself. So I use my players. All right, they go out there and throw out narratives. All right? But the truth is, before the coastal highway, they have been flawed.
Not as bad as it.
Because there's climate change. We're also seeing this in Ghana. As a matter of fact, there was a video that went public of the Ghanaian president that went on chopper because the flood was swallowing houses in Ghana, even in the US, in China. We've seen that all over the world, Lagos. But because this has political capital to invest from, they are beaming on it and making it like it's a coastal highway just to discredit the coastal highway. Because we see flood, because coastal highway is not in Ghana. And houses are being swallowed by flood in Ghana. Coastal highway is not in the US, where even vehicles are being moved by flood. It's not in India and all around. Coastal highway is not there. So what they're just simply doing is just to play down what would have been a big score, a big goal for Mr. President, to try to make it look like blame that is more of a problem than being good. It's just political language. They know what they are doing. that's how it works.
You know, you're just coming. I wish Dr. Victor Hai was here. You're just coming from every angle, trying to, you know. Anyway, let's move on with this topic on the presidential credentials that was submitted. You know, could all of these issues overshadow policy debates during the campaign?
It depends on how loud you are in driving the narrative. All right. I was watching the program, a debate on this same subject yesterday. One was driving the fundamental take of the law on it. The other was saying that, look, this is just a distraction. Let's look at the meat of the progression of governance and again all of that. So it now depends on who controls the narrative, public narrative. All right. So if the distraction of this certificate thing, credential thing, is what is louder in the public domain, yes, it might dissuade it. But some of them might just be like, you know what? This is just basic. This is not the main thing. The main thing is, let's hear your program. Let's hear what you want to do, you know, and all of that. So it depends on the narrative that gained more steam in public domain. Okay, so but for me, ideally for me, I think what should dominate Nigerians should be that, okay, Mr. President, you've been there for this numbers of years, and we are saying this and that. We are probably not comfortable with this and that. So what are your explanations? What can you do to make this better? All right, that should be the challenge to Mr. President. And then to the opposition, it should be that what alternative idea do you have? Yeah. Okay, so that to make the nation better from what it is now. Those are the real. That should be the real conversation, you know, to determine our vote direction and all of that, and not this whatever. Now, if you allow me to just digress a little. All right, and then it's sad that nobody's actually talking about this big time, although the APC tried to raise it in the last presidential election to disqualify Atiku. All right, because by the letters of our constitution, if you are not a burnt Nigerian, if you're not a Nigerian by birth, you cannot aspire for the office of the president. It is written in our constitution, black and white. Atiku became a Nigerian when he was 10 years old, because Jada is part from Adamawa, was part of Cameroon. All right, so the day a referendum that part of Cameroon was not ceded to Nigeria, to Adamawa, just like Bakassi was ceded to Cameroon when Obasanjo was president. So Atiku was not born a Nigerian. He became a Nigerian when he was 10 years old.
But he is a Nigerian.
But the constitution says, black and white, that if you are not Nigerian by birth, you cannot aspire for the office of the president. That's what the constitution says. Now, when APC tried to bring that up in the last election, to say Atiku is not qualified for the office, electoral rule says, look, you can only contest the credential or the submission of a candidate by if you are an aspirant in the primaries of that same party. If you're not from that party, you cannot contest preliminary issues. So they threw out. So they didn't address the merits of that questioning. They only said the only person that is qualified to raise that up will have been aspirant in Atiku's party that contested against him in the primaries. That's what the electoral guideline says. That's the only will give you the ground to contest such, because it's a preliminary, you know, issue subject. So you cannot undo. You don't have the legitimacy now as defined by electoral guideline. If you are outside Atiku's party, you cannot contest preliminary issue. So if nobody's Atiku party is coming up to contest that, then it can as well go. Okay, that's the truth. But we know what the constitution says about that.
Okay, Chris, let's look at INEC.
Okay.
Let's actually look at INEC. Many Nigerians are not comfortable with INEC. They do not see that the body INEC has the credibility, especially this, you know, present INEC chairman. How do you think all of this can be corrected? And do you think that's the reason why the issue of this credential is, you know, making waves in Nigeria right now?
Okay, let me start by saying that the issue of electoral umpire, I don't know of any, maybe except for the 1993 on Fuwosun, you know, that had credibility. Back in the days of Awolowo and the rest of them, where we had Fedeco and all of that, it was marred with crises of, bias and all of that. There was no credibility for Fedeco, all right? Then it moved on and on. We saw Iwu. Iwu was one time INEC chairman, and we know what he did. We know what Iwu did. It's a public domain. So it has never been really fair with INEC, or, you know, to say INEC has always hit that credibility standard. We have that historical flaw with INEC. So if Amopiton is a strength in that too, it's not new. It's not news. I'm not saying it's biased. I'm only saying that we've always had this historical bias against INEC, against our electoral umpire before it became INEC, all right, against our electoral umpire from day one, all right. So there's nothing new about it. But however, I believe strongly that electoral reform happened that Jonathan gave as a gift to the nation when Jega became the head of
I was going to come
now,
there.
It brought in some level of sanity, some level of credibility into the system, you know, with the card reader thing. And that helped to peg boundless rigging. That helped. Now, there were still, I wouldn't say they were not rigging and all of that. There were still, but it helped to a great extent to sanitize our electoral process, all right? So from Jega, Mahmoud took over from Jega and also improved on what Jega did, all right? We improved with what Jega did and also make it a bit more difficult, all right, to manipulate election process, and that is still not to say that it was perfect, because some form of rigging still happened, here and there. So what we should now do is to challenge Amupiton, all right, to also improve on what Mahmoud did. Just like Mahmoud improved on Jega, so we should challenge Amupiton to improve on what Mahmoud did. But the issue of INEC is not credible, is not all of that. These are all political blackmail. All they are doing, it's as simple as that. It's just political rhetorics, okay? Because the opposition needed to do that so to make it look like if we lose the election, we'll be losing the election unfairly. It's just a card they will play. INEC has anyway. Let me say this. INEC has not in any way shown partiality, but yet they've accused INEC over and over again. Nobody is talking about the fact that the court on the deregistration of ADC and 4 other parties. INEC went to court. INEC challenged that, and INEC got results that brought them back on board. Right? Nobody's talking about that as credit to INEC. Nobody's saying anything about that. INEC have just afterwards, they're not the party that the registration. INEC have just sat back. If INEC had sat back, they would have challenged INEC was being fired. But INEC went to court. Got result in their favor. All of credit to INEC.
All of the INEC is biased. It's okay. For example, registration for voters' card.
Okay.
You saw how it was closed down, and you see issues, the tech issues that Nigerians were having to, get their voters' card. So about so many percentage of Nigerians, right, do not have the voters' card to cast their votes come 2027.
Okay.
What is INEC doing about this?
Okay, fine. INEC gave a time frame for Nigerians to go register for voter. It cannot be open-ended. There must be a time for that process to end. Okay. Just a minute. There must be a time to cap it. It cannot be an open-ended exercise.
True.
So INEC gave a time frame for the closure. Nigerians didn't meet up with that. They extended it. And then they extended it, and still Nigeria did not meet up with that extended deadline. And then the next thing is, are they going to keep extending it forever? They can't do that. I understand there were issues.
There were issues.
I understand there were issues.
It wasn't the fault of Nigeria. Nigerians.
It's two ways. There are technical issues, agreed, all right? And that could also be resolved because, for example, now, because you could vote, you could do that at home. You could register.
It wasn't working.
I know, because of the traffic would be, but I also know but some people pull through, all right? But like, if I were the one to do that, and I want to really actually get my card, what I would do is, I'll probably wake up by 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. where the traffic will be very low, all right? And it will sail through.
What if a lot of Nigerians had woken up at that time too, just like you?
Well,
do continue on that line.
I agree there were those inches, and INEC needs to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
But that is not
enough. So that is the reason why. It's enough.
It's not enough. You know why?
It is enough.
You know why? It's not enough.
Let
me tell you why it's not enough. Let me tell you why it's not. Two things. Nigerians are known for with other platforms, other channels. Once you give a date, either it's for NIN or BVN, whatever, there are Nigerians that will wait till last minute before they start rushing. That is character.
That Nigeria could be 10%.
That's one. That's what we all see. We all know that. The number two is the fact that if you don't put a time peg. Now, let me tell you this. This same contention we have in now, let INEC extend it by 1 month. When it's 1 month, there will still be Nigeria will say they have been different.
INEC extending it by which should draw necessities that will allow
even at that, there will still be contentions. Now, you know what? Because it cannot be open-ended, because there's a whole lot to do. Now, after this registration, INEC needs to mop it up, all right? Sort things out. It takes a lot of process. We're talking about millions of Nigerian voters here. There's a lot to do with it, part of logistics, to get it authenticated for the election.
Chris,
so
I do not agree with you, because we also have millions of Nigerians who have not been able to vote.
It's unfortunate.
Have their voters
card. Growing process. It's a growing process.
How long can we continue to grow?
Well, we have to keep growing. Because even in America, what is it? Even America that's over 200 years old, democracy, we still see Trump still coming up with issue that the election that took him out of White House was rigged. That China interfered with it. That is even America with the almighty technology they have. They're still alleging that China, with that election as part of office, the Democrats are saying that Putin in Russia, international brought Trump in the first place, meaning that even the electronic system in America, if election is not perfect. Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is this: there will always be flaw. there will be flaw.
Okay.
It's a growing process.
Okay.
There will be flaw.
There will
but
be
there
flaws.
must be time.
There will be flaws, just like you said, and there's always been flaws, you know, in the process in Nigeria. But had all these flaws affected Nigerians in the past, and how can we quit?
Okay, fine. There was something I wanted to say before I answered that. When you said INEC, okay, because a lot of Nigerians, millions of Nigerians could not register to vote now. Now, the millions of Nigerians could not vote, what specifically say that the millions of Nigerians that have not been able to vote are going to vote against or vote for the president?
No, we don't care who they want to vote for.
So that
is they have the right to vote.
Yes, I agree to that absolutely. Now, INEC did not do that to say it's trying to save a particular candidate or not. That was not done. Right, fine. Then, answering it properly, has affected a year election. Of course, it affected in the past. It's a blind influence. It only take away from the election because it's a flaw. A negative cannot produce positive results. It's a flaw. It's a flaw in our system that went wrong. So obviously, the lashback, the effect will be negative. So for that flaw, it's negative. But what we should question is to see if those flaws were technical flaws or intentional flaws. You see, these are the things we should look at. But if we do not have the evidence to say that they were technical flaws or they were intentional flaws, we cannot be jumping to conclusions on sentiment. I personally, I detest anything that has to do with
quickly, let's look at, okay, so how do we identify what these flaws are and how do we correct them? I mean, we can't keep going through this like this every time. We're getting so matured in democracy.
Okay, yeah.
So how do we identify these flaws?
Okay.
And how do we make amends to them?
There are several ways to it. Number one, I personally, I am not comfortable with the fact that the sitting president is who appoints INEC chairman. It has always been, it is backed by our law. So when, the County Bishop was talking about that as president and all that, but it's just ignorant because the truth is it has been in our law from the past. It is the president that appoints INEC chairman and INEC officers, top officers. It has always been like that. It's not starting with this administration. Okay, but I think it's an institutional flaw. All right, we should be able to design a system, all right, that will get this umpire, so that we completely, and again, they should also be funded. INEC, the same INEC they are complaining of now, that are saying it's being biased, is fighting hard to say INEC funding, okay, should come from the federation accounts, so that they will not be dependent on what the president approved for them, so that they can have their independence, okay. So the same Amoto is fighting that fight now. So what I'm trying to say is this: it has been our history when the president appoint, and I am not comfortable with that. Okay, so one thing we can do is to ensure we create a system whereby the sitting president does not appoint INEC chairman. So INEC leadership will come from a very neutral body. That's one. Number two is we continue to push advocacy that is unbiased, advocacy that is not intended, to target a particular set, a particular party, a particular candidate, whatever. We must be open with our because presidents will come and they will go. Parties will go. When PDP was ruling Nigeria, they were so confident for the next 60 years they would do that, but somewhere along the line, it fell. Today, APC is everywhere, 32 states, all over. What tells you that tomorrow there will not be some kind of eclipse or all of that? So what I'm trying to say is, parties will come and go, president will come and go, but Nigeria will remain. So our advocacy should be unbiased. Our advocacy should be that the right thing should be done for the nation, not advocacy that is tinted with bias, not advocacy that is tinted like, okay, working against this person or working for that other person. No, that is bias. That is flaw in itself. So our advocacy should be unbiased, should be driven towards saving the soul, the ship of Nigeria from wrecking and all of that. So we must do advocacy in that line. By the time we keep pushing and then we keep pushing and then we keep pushing to the National Assembly what it should be and all of that, then gradually there will be improvement. But what I also need to tell Nigerians is this: when you are fighting a process, institutional process, you do not expect it to hit perfection in a go. It has to be a process. We must learn to be patient.
How long are we going to be patient?
We are getting better.
Okay.
And the evidence are there. We are getting better.
Okay.
We cannot jump up. We can only grow up. All right. So that is the process.
All right.
So we just need to keep engaging the process, and then hope that it works for us.
In rounding off, Chris, let's look at the developments. What key development should citizens watch out for as 2027 approaches?
Key development. The average Nigerian wants the economy because a large percentage of Nigerians are microeconomic sector, all right? And then the nation is still challenged in the microeconomic sector, all right? The reform, yes, is progressive. The reform, yes, is turning out numbers, but if the reform has been mainly, more effective in the macro economy. Now, a lot of Nigerians are not in that space yet because it's with the big figures, all right? And those are institutional figures and all of that.
So the bishops were right when they say the economy is not friendly to the common man on the street.
Oh, the president, there's nothing wrong with that because the president has also several times. The president has admitted the fact that the economy is hard. But then the president is always saying that it's a process of reform, and which we know it to be true. Okodwela just said that too of recent. He said it will not be easy from the start. Okodwela said that too, okay? Because we understand by history of reform around the world, once you start from the microeconomy will suffer. It's a known fact, it's a process. That's how it goes, all right? So it is not as Nigeria cannot be exempted from that flow, okay? It is just a natural curve. It's like saying you're giving birth to it. It was only Adam that was born an adult, all right? Every other person that is giving birth to, we have to be an infant, we have to be a toddler, we have to grow. So once you embark on reform, you will know there is a sacrifice to pay. There will be pain comes with reform. Naturally, pains come with reform. So what you now do is that you just go through the process, all right? You hold on to the process, and eventually it will mature, all right? That's where we're getting to. So the president has never denied the fact that people are suffering, but he's only saying that we are progressing. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So where they had that issue of misunderstanding was they wanted him to drive the wrong with their narrative. And he said, no, I'm seeing improvement. We are doing something. And then we are not in the hole. We're no longer in the dark. We are coming up. So I rather focus on the progress we are making than to just say that...
Anyway, thank you, Chris. If I leave you, you continue to talk. Thank you so much. And Mr. President said we're coming out from the darkness. We hope, we're looking forward to seeing Nigerians coming out of darkness because Nigerians are complaining. And 2027 draws nearer. We hope that Nigerians will come out to cast their votes peacefully. Thank you again for joining us, our viewers out there, on the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. We'll take you back to Benin, where this program continues. I'm Pat Uremu Gabriels.
Good morning and welcome to the news update at this hour. I am Amara Chukwu Azuka. Residents and business owners along the Upper Siloko Igwobazua Road in Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State are renewing their appeal for urgent government intervention as the worsening condition of the road continues to disrupt transportation, affect businesses, and slow economic activities. Ehis Ohunamure has details.
For many residents, commuters, and motorists traveling on the Upper Siloko Igwobazua Road has become a daily struggle with deep potholes and failed sections, making movement difficult and time-consuming. 1 week after independent television news first reported on the deplorable state of the road, residents say there has been no noticeable improvement.
This place have punctured my tires 3 times because of the bad road.
See, they affect us well. I want to know if they come carry our product if we do and finish.
We are begging the Edo State governor to please help us fix it.
Business owners say they are bearing the brunt of the deteriorating road. Food vendors report a sharp drop in patronage as customers avoid the area because of the difficult access. Phone technicians also say many clients are reluctant to visit their jobs, resulting in reduced income and slowing local economic activities.
I beg, Mona can't do the road for us.
The residents appeal to both the Edo State and federal government to urgently rehabilitate the road, noting that its reconstruction would improve transportation, restore business confidence, enhance access to essential services, and boost economic development across the affected communities. In a recent interview with Independent Television, the Permanent Secretary, Edo State Minister of Works, Dr. John Obano, assured residents that rehabilitation of the road would commence after the rainy season.
It's not as if government is insensitive to the plight of the people. We are helpless now because of the weather.
This is Upper Siloko Igwabazuwa Road in Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State. It's more than a transportation corridor. It is an economic lifeline for several communities. The people are crying over the worsening condition of the road. From Benin, Ehis Onhunamure, ITV News.
Staffs of independent television and radio have been reminded that although challenges are part of life, they can be overcome through wisdom, prayer, gratitude, and a willingness to make amends. The advice was given by the senior pastor of City of Testimony Solution Bible Church, Pastor Peter Ike Kwame, during the 42nd monthly 1-hour prayer section of independent television and radio held at St. Gabriel Hall, ITV Oluku. Ofure Aneto has details.
The monthly prayer session brought together the management and staff of Independent Television and Radio to seek God's guidance and commit the activities of the organization into His hands. In his opening remarks, the managing director of Independent Television and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, described the prayer session as a platform for spiritual renewal and personal reflection. He urged staff to cultivate the right attitude to work, remain committed to excellence, and strive for improved performance in their various responsibilities.
Stop working for money. Work for results. Results will give you remuneration. Results will give you recognition. And you will appreciate it.
Preaching theme, How to Escape from Trouble, Pastor Peter Ikegwame said, while troubles are inevitable, they can be overcome through godly wisdom, sincere repentance, gratitude, faithfulness in fulfilling vows, and a consistent prayer life. He encouraged staff to trust in God in every circumstances and remain steadfast in their faith.
Anytime God says, call upon me with your trouble, no time, they say, God who can handle your trouble. And if you know you must escape that trouble, then your vow.
Giving the vote of thanks, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Lady Celerina Ujomo, expressed appreciation to the guest minister for the inspiring message and encouraged members of staff to continue participating actively in the station's monthly corporate prayer sessions. The prayer service was attended by members of management, including the Director, Independent Radio, Pastor Dr. Dan Omozusi, GM Commercial Service, Mrs. Odun Balogu, GM Special Duties, Mr. Abiodun Mudashiru, and staff of the station. From Benin, Ofure Aneta, ITV News.
Now, the Chairman Emeritus of Independent Television and Radio, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawaro Igbenidio, the Osama of Benin, has been eulogized as one African whose investment in human capital development has impacted many irrespective of ethnicity or tribe. The leadership of Center of Media Connect, led by Ambassador Cornel Udofia, stated this during a presentation of the organization's Journalist of the Year Award to ITV Lagos Station. Marcelina Unkwo has more.
Mr. Lucky Paul Agboje as the most
Outstanding Journalist of the Year.
Presentation of the Journalist of the Year award and medals by the Center of Media Connect to ITV Lagos newscaster, presenter and reporter Igboje Ikwerre for unbiased and objective reportage. Congratulating the awardee for the feat, leader of the delegation from the CMC Ambassador Colonel Udofia said, ITV is a household name in the media business, pointing out that the investor and the chairman emeritus of the digital station is Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawaru Igbinedion. The Esama of Benin is one of the greatest African investors of all time that should be celebrated both at home and abroad.
The Esama of Benin, the Esama of the world, my father, my mentor, actually empowered so many young people. He has created jobs for so many people.
Appreciating the leadership of CMC for finding him worthy for the prestigious Journalist of the Year award, the awardee, newscaster, presenter and reporter Igboje Ikwerre appreciated the Esama of Benin, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawaru Igbinedion, the Managing Director, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, and management of the station for the support given to him since joining the platform. He dedicated the award to his wife and kids, saying it will spur him to do more.
And want to appreciate this platform, ITV and radio management, and everyone who had contributed in supporting me to get to this level where I am today as a senior reporter in this platform. I want to appreciate them, and I want to also dedicate this award to my family, my kids who have always been there for me, and also my wife, Igboje Tina Chioma.
Igboje Ikwerre was awarded alongside Nigerian-born Canadian-based movie producer, actress, producer Amanda Ebei for her contributions in movie making. From Lagos, Marcelina Unkwo, ITV News.
And lastly, on the news update, a Benin City-based legal practitioner and human rights activist, Mr. Benjamin Ilobe, Esquire, has called on Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpebholo to take decisive action against an emerging dangerous trend of police intimidation, extortion, and brutality on innocent citizens in the state. The lawyer made the appeal while presenting what he described as evidence of an alleged illegal withdrawal of 609,000 naira from the bank account of his client, Mr. Omofoman Omokuyi Jeffrey. Pius Nsogo has details.
According to Barrister Iluobe, his client was intercepted by some policemen who allegedly accused him of being a cultist. He claimed the officers subjected the victim to hours of intimidation and torture before forcefully collecting his ATM card and withdrew 609,000 naira through POS terminals.
They opened his phone and they found 600,000 naira in his pocket. They withdrew that money into an account of a POS woman standing there.
Displaying receipts of the transactions, Mr. Iluobe said although the policemen involved have since refunded the money and pleaded for the matter to be dropped, the incident should not be swept under the carpet.
When they were contacted, when they were confronted weekend on Sunday, the first day of August, through the same woman in another account, First City Monumental Bank, the other one is the first bank is non-bank microfinance. They returned the money. 600,000 have been returned to the victim.
The victim, Mr. Omofoman Omokuyi Jeffrey, recounted his ordeal, alleging that he was wrongfully profiled, assaulted and coerced into surrendering his ATM card before the money was withdrawn from his account.
They bundled me, they beat me at that particular spot before they took me to the station. When they took me to the station, they took me to an uncompleted story building. 3 was downstairs watching, 4 was upstairs. Was upstairs. So they're telling me that if I don't cooperate, that they can waste me here and nothing will happen.
The allegations come amidst renewed calls by civil society groups for increased accountability, professionalism, and respect for the fundamental rights of citizens by law enforcement officers. As of the time of this report, Edo State Police Command is yet to issue an official statement on the allegations. From Benin, Pius Nsogo, ITV News. Well,
that report brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachukwu Azuka. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
This morning on ITV, I'll walk you through the social media news just as it hits the internet. My name is Eneja Wisdom, and here's what's trending. The chairman of the Kuje Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory, Danjuma Shekwolo, has explained the reason behind his appointment of Ibrahim Danladi as special assistant on dance. Shekwolo, who confirmed the appointment on Friday, said the decision was part of efforts to strengthen the entertainment sector in the council. However, he clarified that the role has been misunderstood, saying, yes, I made an appointment, but it is the wrong perception that they gave. It is an appointment for a special assistant on entertainment, not dance. The appointment has drawn attention due to the unusual nature of portfolio, with the council chairman insisting that it was aimed at supporting entertainment activities and recognizing contributions within the sector. I'll walk you through some of the comments we have on X precisely, and then I'll run you through the rest of the trending news this morning. First, I have here from Baba Yeti. He says, local government chairman also employing special assistants, political nepotism to the highest. And next here I have is Afobaji, who says APC wants to finish this country. Well, that's his opinion. I'll run you through the next one by Annie. She says, has anyone seen Tinubu on the 200 million luxury yacht he bought with our money, or another person they enjoy him? That amounts for equipped hospitals in my state. From D. Maverick, he says, mediocrity taken too far. Middle Child says, maybe he wants to learn how to dance like Wike. All right, I think last year is from George. He says, do you think someone will be able to create a fake or agency rather under Peter Obi's leadership? Peter Obi is coming. Right next, the next news I have trending here is from South Africa. Just in, they chased the foreigners away, a South African granny out. Now they're complaining there are no jobs. An elderly South African says shutting down foreign-owned businesses, including spaza shops, has left many young South Africans unemployed. She said many of the businesses employed local workers. Their closure has disrupted township supply chains, and the crime rate has been on the rise since the businesses were shut down following recent anti-immigration protests. There's a video for us to watch.
Yeah, because they're living here, they come and stop. So if they look at the men here, they come and look. You can find out some of them have got maybe children. Look at them. There's fathers that not working yet. They are supporting their children with these things here. There are mothers that's not working. They are supporting their children. They are paying school fees. Now, if they close those shops, what is the people? People are going to do crime. They're going to steal. Yeah, because they are living here, they come and stock. So if they look at the men here, they come and you can find out some of them have got maybe children. Look at them. Now what are they going to do? They're going to do crime and go to prison.
Well, we're all aware of the xenophobic happenings, or should I say Afrophobic in this case. And you know, all of what has been going down, different blacks being chased back to their countries, including Nigerians, not to talk of the intense killings. Now, this has got a lot of spark on the internet and even, you know, in reality, because many families are affected, many people are going through different shades of a lot. Well, just to say, apparently, actions have consequences. But let's go through the comments we have. From Mama, she says, we're waiting for government to give us money to buy stuff in quotes. And then the next one from Venom here says, how do they accuse people of selling fake products when clearly there should be a consumer protection agency cracking those stores down? Once again, South Africans are so slow that they project their government failure on immigrants. They're just trying to satisfy their bloodlust. Now from Collins, when there is no foreigner to blame, they will eat themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, grab a popcorn and watch the short live horror movie about to happen. From Solomon Archibald, he says, they chased away the foreigners they claimed were taking their jobs. Now asking them to go find their jobs. Now we're asking them to go find their jobs. Now from Boy Grace, you all are just getting started. In a few years from now, SA will cry tears and beg the nations they wronged, and no one will listen. I think finally on that story from Ben Osayi, they've taken South Africa 50 years backwards. No more economic progress. It would have been better if these black South Africans remained under the rule of the government of Botha and Clerk. Well, that's that on that particular news, just not to say too much. And I'll run you through the last one before we call the wrap for this morning. A Nigerian comes out to cry out, to complain. And what's he talking about? He says, I helped a police officer whose appointment was terminated during the COVID-19 period get reinstated after appealing to PSC and other places. I didn't take any money from him. In fact, he needed help to return to his state from Abuja. Since then, this young man, with whom I have no family relationship, has billed me for his wedding, his child's dedication, and today he's added me to his father's funeral committee WhatsApp group. Quite interesting if you'd say with me, but you know what, let's just focus on the comments we have online. First here from George. George says, once you add me to committee of friends for wedding or burial, I block you. If your power no read something, don't do it. Don't rope people or make them pay for what you couldn't afford. Chidera has something else to say on that. She says, probably saved your number as eternal helper. Do it if you can, but at this point, it's become do it if you feel like it. Leo says, once you add me to committee of friends or anything, I'll block you straight. People need to start cutting their coats according to their sizes. And from Food Dr. Pro, I think most of the personnel of the security agency in Nigeria have normalized that gutter entitlement behavior. They don't like to pay for transport fare when they enter public transport. They must sit on the front seat if they stop by at grocery store to buy something. And from Osa Waltz, you're his destiny helper. Congratulations on your appointment, sir. And lastly from Nze, make sure you don't give him, don't reply, and just delete the number, mute and archive. We'll talk about the entitlement syndrome. You help him once and he feels like, you know what, you're there for life and you're going to help me through every other thing. That's not a sweet way to go about it, but for now, that's all the time I have on TMI Social, and I'll call the wrap for the entirety of TMI. Thank you for staying with me and thank you for spending your morning with us. My name is Eneja Wisdom Chinechirin. Goodbye for now.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.